The season in the Southeastern Conference ends with the Magnolia Bowl. Ole Miss and LSU for the 109th time here on SEC Network. Great to be here in Tiger Stadium today. Max Johnson makes his first start in Death Valley today after a memorable first start last Saturday night in the Swamp. Max went down there to Gainesville. All he did was throw 3 touchdown passes, no interceptions, ran it 52 yards, and gave LSU a chance to win. Got a little help when Florida's Marco Wilson threw Cole Taylor's shoe 20 yards down the field. Cade York somehow threw that fog 57-yard field goal. The Tigers knocked off the Gators. With the College Football Hall of Famer Matt Stinchcomb, I'm Taylor Zarzour. Cole Kubelik will be with us on the field in just a minute. Stinch, it sounds kind of crazy to say this because LSU won the national championship in January, but they were desperate on Saturday night. And Coach O said it's a program-defining win. Why?
Well, it sounds like that would be hyperbole, but put it into context. And yes, it was a record-setting year a season ago on their way to a national championship. But given the difficulties, the challenges that LSU had to face, only 5 returning starters, and that dwindles as the season goes on, not only with guys that want to quit playing football for that season, for that matter, guys that actually didn't be able to be out there on the football field to contest the number 6 team in the country, and you're going to do it with a true freshman in his first start on the road. So many different challenges for LSU. They needed that win. They got that win. Now they have to build on that win.
And in order to do so, Coach O has to beat his old friend Lane Kiffin. Worked for him at Tennessee and at USC. In fact, when they fired Kiffin out there with the Trojans, Coach O was the interim head coach.
Yeah, they got so much in common. I mean, you think about their history and their coaching careers overlapping, but personality-wise, couldn't be any more different, both in-game and off the field. Should be a really fun matchup here today because of it.
Well, Lane's missing his top targets today. The man that led the country in receptions despite only 8 games, Elijah Moore, opts out. And Kenny Yeboah, the second best target for Ole Miss, also opted out on Thursday. How do they overcome not having these guys?
Well, they have to keep in mind that they've got one of the best trigger men in the country in their passing offense in Matt Corral. Number 2 in total offense generated in the entire country. 380-plus yards in that area. He's aggressive, but he's not reckless with the football. He's done a great job of pushing the football downfield and complementing what is the number 1 rushing attack in the entire Southeastern Conference.
There you see Coach Kiffin getting ready for this one. Could have some rain in the second half today. As you see, Ole Miss is about ready to kick it off to LSU. Is Luke Logan, the senior from Hattiesburg, Mississippi, will kick it deep. And it's Josh Williams that's standing back there at his 5-yard line. And Williams drops the ball at the 1. You have to pick this one up. And he's past the 25, tackled at the 29. Cole Kubelik, what does Max Johnson have to work with today on offense?
Oh, Taylor, it might be what does he not have to work with today, but that's kind of par for the course here for LSU. Tyron Davis-Price is going to be out at tailback. Chasen Hines, who I thought had his best game in an LSU uniform last week at right guard, is also going to be out. The freshman quarterback's top 2 targets are also going to be freshman wide receivers today, but that's just what this team has become accustomed to.
Johnson, the left-hander, on the first play. It's an underneath completion that goes for a few yards to Coy Moore, the true freshman from Kenner, Louisiana. He's one of those guys, a Stinch, Cole, that is talking about there, that's going to have to step up.
There's no doubt one of the guys that Steve Ensminger, the offensive coordinator, talked about. They expect him to get more looks in this passing game.
Swings it outside to Trey Bradford, the true freshman. He's tackled immediately. He'll lose yardage. A.J. Finley, the sophomore from Mobile, Alabama, forces 3rd and long.
It's something to keep an eye on in this game. So already early, LSU starts the game in an empty formation, then they motion to empty on the second snap of the game. They haven't been in an empty backfield set very often this season. They were incredibly powerful in it a season ago. See if they can hold up in protection on a third down early.
Tigers only 35% on third down this year. Johnson, it's an underneath throw, and it's wide of Cole Taylor, and it's a quick 3 and out forced by the Ole Miss defense.
A great job by A.J. Finley early, as you see Otis Reese making his presence felt in the back end for the Ole Miss Rebels. A guy that they say might be their best defensive player, which is remarkable given that Otis Reese has only played the one game versus Mississippi State.
Zach Von Rosenberg has under heavy pressure. Somehow he gets that punt off, and it is going to be fielded at the 25-yard line as Dontario Drummond, instead of Elijah Moore, is the punt returner today. What a job by the 30-year-old punter. See a flag.
Yeah, he handled that like a grown man. That was impressive.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Return team, number 12. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Jason Autry, today's referee. Look at the Ray Guy Award finalist here.
Wow, what a heady play. High snap, timing was off. That punt is blocked. If Von Rosenberg tries to get that on rhythm, just try to kick right through those arms, there's no way. That ball is getting bounced off your foot and going the other direction. What a heady play by the punter at LSU.
The sophomore from Ventura, California, Matt Corral, number 2 in the country, averaging 382 yards of total offense per game, at 385, an Egg Bowl record, and he just tosses it ahead to Braylon Sanders, and Sanders gets close to a first down. He doesn't think he's down. He doesn't think his knee ever hit the ground. He's still running as Ward will tackle him inside the 20-yard line.
I'm not sure he was ever established down right here. This is a tap pass and will count as a completion. But see if anything would have established Sanders is down, and it does. You see him there. The left knee and even hip makes contact with the turf. But he didn't hear a whistle. He pops up, keeps running, but he is clearly down right there. The first look at it, I feel like, was the clearest look at it. That left knee. I said left hip. I'm not sure that you can actually see it, but you can see his left knee makes contact, even his left thigh with the ground before he bounces back up.
When you see he's wearing that pad on his left arm too, Stinch, that looked like it hit the ground too. So instead of marking this inside LSU's 20-yard line, this should be only an 8-yard gain and bring Ole Miss back to their own 23-yard line. You see the ruling on the field. We'll see if Mr. Autry is about to overturn it.
After video review, the runner was down with the ball at the 23-yard line. It'll be second down, Ole Miss.
Certainly got that one right, Stinch. All right, we'll get to Ole Miss's offense here. Cole Kubelik, you were talking before the game about the impact not having Moore and Yeboah has on Lane Kiffin today.
I think two things. It could potentially slow you down because your depth at wide receiver, and also Jeff Lebby, the offensive coordinator, told me Kenny Yeboah is a guy that allows them to go as fast as possible. They're not going to have his wherewithal in the game today.
Interesting to see if they can pull that off today.
Yeboah is a guy that's just a mismatch all over the place.
No question. It allows them to go so fast. Ely going sideways, eludes the tackle, has the first down, but a flag does come in. It would be a 12-yard gain. Let's see if he was benefited, Stinch, by a block in the back.
As the officials sort this out and go back to what Cole said, Yeboah is so flexible.
During the run, holding. offense, number 78. 10-yard penalty, repeat, second down.
So the Rebels ranks this season since they've been sensational on offense, defense, not so much.
Yeah, I mean, just a massive disparity, and it's something that Lane Kiffin has somewhat embraced. They're going to go fast. They want to score points. It helps with recruiting, the perception of the program, but the defense, there's no doubt, has to improve if they want to be competitive in year two.
2nd and 12. Corral keeps it over the top. He's got a wide open receiver. Casey Kelly, only one catch on the year. He's the man taking Yeboah's spot at tight end today, and it's a massive play.
They're running off a play action, but there ends up being pressure right in his face. Ali Gay right there. And Casey Kelly was a guy that Jeff Levy mentioned a couple of times in our call the other night. As you said it, only one catch on the year.
57 yards for the redshirt freshman from Niagara Falls. They go back to the ground, and it's Ely for a nice pickup inside the 25-yard line. It's a guy that's going to have to pick up the slack. You'll also see DJ Thomas play some today at tight end for the Rebels. Fake to Ely, keeping it himself. It looks like Corral gets a couple there. It'll be 3rd and 4.
So here's Ole Miss right here, just now penetrating the red zone. And this is an area where, despite penetrating this portion 51 times in only 8 games, they're not very proficient in this area of the field.
Corral to the end zone. Touchdown! How about the catch from Braylon Sanders?
It seems fitting. Braylon Sanders started this series off with the tap pass, what looked like an even bigger play than it was. They bring it back, said he was down, but makes an incredibly acrobatic catch. Body control, up and around. Great job by Braylon Sanders. Only had 11 catches.
Extra point by Logan is good. No Elijah Moore, no Kenny Yeboah, no problem. Casey Kelly and Braylon Sanders step up. Rebels on top first in Tiger Stadium.
Time for the AT&T 5G studio update. I'm Peter Burns. Missouri is in Starkville. And how about Larry Roundtree? More consistent than Raising Cane's after a night out. His 39th career touchdown, 3rd most in school history. Missouri Tigers up 7-0 over State.
I thought you were going to say, Burns, after you've had a big night out, as Ole Miss strikes first here in Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge. Stinch, that was a very quick 3 and out, and Ole Miss utilizing a senior receiver. Braylon Sanders gets the first touchdown of the game. Let's talk about LSU now, and Max Johnson on offense looking for their first down.
Well, it's important for them to stay ahead of schedule, something that Steve Ensminger said really helped them versus Florida. They were able to get to 3rd and manageable. What hurt them last series was the 2nd down tackle for loss.
Of the game, and Curry gets a couple. He saved the day against the Gators with Ty Davis-Price being banged up. As Cole told you, not playing again today. John Emery is available, but not starting. It was Curry they leaned on for 64 yards in that game. He gets 1 there. 2nd and 9. It's a strike to Keyshawn Boutte. They think this is the next great receiver in Baton Rouge.
Well, he's had to step up because the void has been significant for LSU as well. We talk about Elijah Moore and Kenny Yeboah.
Illegal shift, offense, number 10. He was set and moving at the snap. 5-yard penalty, repeat, 2nd down.
And so it's for naught here, Stinch, because Jenkins was not aligned properly.
But from a personnel standpoint, you're right. It's been Boutte that's needed to step up. Terrace Marshall tapping out on the season earlier. Eric Gilbert, the 2nd leading receiver. spot as a true freshman, has not played last week, isn't going to play this week as well. Butte and others having to step up.
2nd and 14. Johnson to the big tight end, Cole Taylor. First down, LSU.
Doesn't have any issues with his footwear after that one, which proves to have been fortuitous a week ago. It's Taylor over the middle as LSU's quick back to the line.
Johnson flushed out on the move, and it's another strike down the field. A first down throw to Coy Moore.
You see the mobility of Max Johnson. Not only the accuracy, we've seen that a couple of times. That time, rolling to his left, leaving the pocket after pressure, and throwing a strike.
Now Curry to the ground and breaking tackles. He'll get a handful. Cole, what are you seeing from Max Johnson down there at field level?
Well, I think the way he directs the offense, first and foremost, just confidence. That calm in the pocket is something that obviously I think he alludes to other players in this offense. And Stint sort of mentioned it. Not very fleet of foot, not quick twitch, but he just understands how to manipulate the pocket, move around to give himself a chance to extend the play.
And 2nd and 5, it's a quick strike, and he put it right in the breadbasket of Moore, who dropped it.
With that one, you could see Moore. He was seeking a run before he secured the catch. Just a quick slant. They're going to pick up a first down. Instead, Moore gets ahead of himself, and you can see the void. Jamar Chase, before we even got to the season, he taps out, says, I'm not interested in playing this year. I'm going to go pro. Terrace Marshall lasted a lot longer, but both sizable vacuums created when those guys are on the field.
3rd and 5, throwing into double coverage, and it's batted away by Finley, who's looked good here in the first quarter. It's 4th down.
Well, you said it, Taylor. A couple of nice plays from number 21 at his safety position. One was a tackle for loss. They back LSU up, got him in a 3rd and long, and now on 3rd down play. And A.J. Finley able to turn the LSU offense away again. They're able to gain some field position this time.
No York 60-yard field goal attempt. Maybe a little too early for that. Instead, Von Rosenberg pins him deep. Kirkland with the catch inside the 10. And one of the best punters in America with 2 good ones in the early going. Rebels 7, Tigers nothing here. Just about 6 minutes in to the first quarter. Just about everything has changed for LSU since they won the national championship in January. Just about. Not the special team. Sensational. Cade York with the 57-yarder. He's been amazing past 50. We've talked about Von Rosenberg. And the first kick return for touchdown in Tiger Stadium by Trey Palmer-Stinch since 1981. And they're blocking kicks. Jay Ward saved the day against the Razorbacks.
Scoring points, generating field position, pinning your opponents back deep, as Von Rosenberg has here at their own 10.
Ely going sideways is tackled in the backfield by Jabril Cox. The transfer from North Dakota State. What a find he's been for LSU, playing every snap.
Well, he's typically been a space player throughout his career, meaning outside the box. He was here, kind of between the slot, but you could see cheating his eyes back into the offensive backfield.
Loss of 4, Corral from his own end zone, throws it over the head of DJ Thomas. Great to see him playing after a scary injury in practice in November.
And Ole Miss might have gotten away with a hold at left tackle. It looked like they were going to get the edge kind of bent. Ujulari, one of the better pass rushers, lined up on the right side of that LSU defensive front. And on a 3rd and 14, backed up, he will have his ears pinned back.
Corral keeps it himself and will lose a couple of yards. Andre Anthony, 4th down. Well,
he had pressure in his lap once again. And that time, Ojulari was able to get push on Broker, who's had a heck of a year. But you see Corral could feel the pocket collapsing at the edges. And he's got to throw that football away. It looked like he had an opportunity to do so. And instead, now you back up your punting unit even further. You never want your punter standing with his heels on the back end line of the end zone.
Which is what they'll be doing here with Mac Brown, punting it deep to Coy Moore. Takes it off the bounce at the 45. Turf Monster might have slowed him down a bit, but LSU is in good shape. Coming up at 6:30 Eastern, the SEC Nation crew will wrap up the 4 afternoon matchups and get you set for the Gators and the Tide. After the game, head back to SEC Network for a full breakdown and interviews with players and coaches. You can always watch on the ESPN app if you're out and about, because nobody covers the SEC like we do. Cole, Alabama, big win tonight, or do the Gators keep it close?
I think 17, 21, 24 points. Alabama rolls.
Okay, so it's somewhere in the convincing range, as Curry doesn't get much. Same for you, Stench?
Yeah, I don't see it being a close football game. In fact, I think the difference is that second half. I think Najee Harris, that run game gets rolling a little bit. Obviously, they'll use him early in that football game, but I think it ends up being a second half separation kind of game. I don't know how Florida, who can score points, I don't know that they'll be able to keep pace, especially since the Tide kind of take the air out of the football if they want.
Aggies convincing victory over Tennessee. Oklahoma won the Big 12. Ohio State wins the Big 10. Trey Palmer makes the grab there. It'll be third down again for Max Johnson, as Dean Leonard with a tackle.
Yeah, going back to that previous possession, Von Rosenberg, they were able to move the football a little bit. Von Rosenberg pins Ole Miss deep. The defense gets the ball back. You get a decent punt return. The LSU needs to capitalize on this possession just outside the red zone.
On 3rd and 5, it's a first down strike to Boutte, and he's inside the 20, down near the 19.
Almost looked like that ball got tipped, the way it kind of fluttered towards Kayshon Boutte. Watch as the ball comes out. It comes out cleanly. It's kind of a duck a little bit to Boutte.
Curry plows ahead, and he gets near the 15. 6 completions so far by Max Johnson, Stench, to 6 different receivers.
Spreading it around, and you can see the comfort that Cole was talking about earlier that Max Johnson has. I think more than anything, what stood out to me a week ago was the poise that the true freshman had. He's played in other football games this year. It wasn't as if he hasn't had time and meaningful minutes, but to start on the road versus number 6, the way he conducted himself was impressive.
Another underneath throw, and it's incomplete. Momo Sanogo all over Curry there, third down.
You said it, all over Curry. It looked to me like Sanogo got there early. The linebacker in coverage on a back out of the backfield, and there's no doubt. From that angle, looks like Sanogo got there early. Kind of hard to tell if the ball had reached Curry at that point, but it certainly looked as if Sanogo had early contact.
Rebels trying to force a Cade York field goal attempt. Johnson wants a first down, and it's at the feet of his intended target, Trey Palmer. 4th down.
Ole Miss heating LSU up a little bit, that time bringing 5. The pressure didn't necessarily get home. Johnson off target on that 3rd down attempt. As the field goal unit comes out, a big stop by the Ole Miss defense defending a short field.
Well, I don't know if you guys saw Joe Buck put the announcer curse on Justin Tucker of the Ravens as the timeout is called, but
Timeout.
Cade York
Ole Miss
is just about as automatic as it gets in college football. We'll see if you're superstitious or a little stitious in just a moment.
Back in Baton Rouge, guys, about 2 hours ago when I arrived to the stadium, it was 72 degrees, not a cloud in the sky, no wind blowing at all. The temperature feels like it's dropped about 20 degrees. It has gotten dark in a hurry, and we're expecting a lot of rain for the second half of this football game.
So Cade York will try a slight draw here from 34 yards. And he kicks it right through there. He's just one of the best in the business. Now 15 of 18 on the season. Took the longest field goal in LSU history last Saturday night with that 57-yarder, despite issues with visibility. No issue seeing that one go right through. Coach O said he couldn't see it at all, but he rejoiced as he got that win. Now he's going up against Coach Kiffin, who he knows so well. These guys have gone back through the ages. As you go back to USC, you see them all both on that staff, winning a couple of national championships. Coach O followed Coach Kiffin to the Vols, went back with him out to Los Angeles. Coach Kiffin gets fired, and Coach O took over. Still very close friends, Stinch, but Lane says Coach O's not much of a texter.
That's right. And we know that Lane Kiffin is. Got that text thread going on with the other kind of former Sabanites. They're like two buddies on a road trip that just kind of take turns driving. You got Lane Kiffin's the head coach for a little while, and then Ed Ogeron's the head coach for a little while. And Kiffin takes over a program that Ogeron had at one point in time. They just kind of jockey back and forth. And you see the ball flip off the tee, but Ed Ogeron, he said it in our call the other day. You know, Lane Kiffin helped him get that job at LSU. He was going to be his offensive coordinator, leave Alabama, and come coach at LSU if he didn't get a head coaching job. He did, of course, at Florida Atlantic.
How about what Cole said? Cole asked him, he said, do you have any stories you can share with us we can say on the broadcast? He said, none for the broadcast.
Yeah. He was vexed. I got nothing.
So the Rebels will get it at their 25-yard line, up 7-3 against Coach O's Tigers here. 5:35 to go here in the first quarter. Semi's coming up on New Year's Day in two great spots, Pasadena and in New Orleans. That picture will be settled by tomorrow, as we'll have Selection Sunday tomorrow with that announcement tomorrow about who the four teams are and who will round out the New Year's Six as well. Clemson and Notre Dame getting started on ABC in Charlotte in just a few minutes. Henry Parrish is in the backfield with Corral, and Corral will throw, and it's a pick six maybe. Watch out, Jay Ward, touchdown. Well, no Derek Stingley, Stench, and Jay Ward has stepped up and become a playmaker in the last month.
Well, we talked about LSU needing to build on their performance and their victory last week versus Florida in an area none more so than the defensive backfield. Their pass defense has been victimized most of the season. They generated turnovers last week versus Florida, and now early a pick six, and the defense is on the board for the Tigers.
Ward, the sophomore from Moultrie, Georgia, had that wild interception that deflected off Dwight McLaughlin last week. This was telegraphed.
It was. Trying to get it to Jonathan Mingo on the outside, and Ward jumped that route. Watch him read this route, an outbreaker by Mingo. He's underneath it right now. And Ward takes it to the house. He's trying to compete with his defensive backfield mate, Eli Ricks. Leads the conference with 4 picks, 2 pick sixes. Now notch one for Jay Ward. And LSU taking advantage of Ole Miss. The Ole Miss offense came out rocking and rolling, went right down the football field. They get behind in field position. LSU gets a field goal, and now a defensive score to take the lead versus the Ole Miss Rebels. Maybe a little bit of rust, Taylor, given the fact that the Rebels hadn't been on the football field since November 28th in the Egg Bowl.
If there's there's been one issue with Matt Corral. It has been the interceptions. He threw 6 of them against Arkansas. That's his 10th of the season. This one going back to the house against Bo Pelini's defense. It's been a tremendous amount of adversity. Coach Pelini said he was prepared for it, though, as this one sails through the end zone to the studio and Peter Burns.
Thank you, Czar. Time for the State Farm surprisingly great performance. How about some youngsters down in Mississippi State? Will Rogers finds Jaden Wally. 14-7 State with the win or a quick lead over the Tigers. Back to Taylor and Stinch, a connection as smooth as the Bay Breezes at Baton Rouge Country Club.
That man knows quite a bit about Baton Rouge. So let's see if Corral can get back on track after the Jay Ward pick 6. Now trailing 10-7.
You can see Lane Kiffin, he was trying to get the officials' attention there earlier.
Ball was incorrectly placed. It'll be reset. First down, Ole Miss.
Yeah,
On the wrong
Somebody
hash.
wanted the ball in the middle of the field, guys.
Yeah, okay, so on the wrong hash, put it in the middle of the field, and Corral under heavy pressure, no matter where the football is, somehow Corral got rid of that, and it's only going to be a loss of a couple as it was caught by Parrish, but B.J. Ojolari was all over Corral in the backfield.
Once again, it's meet me at the quarterback, and it easily could have been Roy who beat the guard right now. It looked like Ben Brown.
The ruling of the completed pass is under video review.
Who had slid over from center, but regardless, there was 3 rushers from the defensive front of LSU harassing Matt Corral as they take another look. And it would actually be doing Ole Miss a favor if this is ruled an incompletion. Not great ball security by Corral. Rebels lucky that ball didn't get stripped out of there as he ultimately gets drugged to the ground by Jacoby Stevens.
I think what they're looking at here is to see if the foot was out of bounds from Henry Parrish. I believe we have Matt Austin, our SEC rules analyst, who is with us today. What did you see there, Matt?
Well, I agree with you, Taylor. His foot might have been out of bounds. I'm not really sold on this stoppage because it's a 2-yard difference this early in the game. I'm not sure it's got much competitive effect. It's either complete or incomplete, and it's going to be 12 yards to go or 10 yards to go. So I think he does have the ball there. Now his foot's out of bounds, so I think in that respect it is a catch, but I'm a little surprised they stopped it.
After video review, the ruling on the field stands. Second down.
That was a great job by Matt of saying, let's keep playing football, Stinch.
Yeah, that's right. And I agree with him, man. Part of it's a function of Ole Miss. You know, they've got the 3rd most number of negative yardage plays for their offense. They're still incredibly prolific, but it's nothing for them to go backwards. They had 65 negative yardage plays offensively this season.
Corral swings it quickly to Parrish. Catches on consecutive plays after only 1 all year. And he gets something out of this. It'll be 3rd and 8. Cole, what are you seeing at the line of scrimmage so far when the Rebels are on offense?
Well, I think too many gap scheme play action plays. You have the offensive lineman to get out in space and try to pick up a guy one-on-one outside of his comfort zone. Don't like it. I mean, Stinch knows what I'm talking about. You pull a guard out, you get him outside the tackle box, and ask him to get in front of an outside linebacker defensive end one-on-one. It's just a tough ask.
Especially with a deep dropper like Matt Corral.
Corral gets hit as he throws, and it's incomplete, 4th down. Ojolari was back there again, and Ali Gay, too.
Yeah, once again, the edge rushers, and this is something that Ole Miss talked about in our meetings. They were aware of this. The strength of that defense is its front, and specifically their edge players. And that has proven to be the case repeatedly. A power rush by Ojolari, who's a really good athlete, and he's able to just push Nick Broker into the lap of Matt Corral, who repeatedly has been pressured. It's a great job by this LSU defensive front. Another stop by the Tiger defense.
Mac Brown has punted twice in a quarter. That might be an all-time high for Ole Miss this season. As often as Lane Kiffin goes for it. Fair catch at the 25-yard line. Well, both of these programs had an outstanding day on National Signing Day a couple days ago. LSU 4th in the nation despite all of the adversity that they've gone through since the national championship in January. And the talk of National Signing Day, Stinch, might have been Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss at number 19.
And what was interesting about what Lane Kiffin was telling us in recruiting, the number of defensive players that they were able to sign and the number of guys that can join their program mid-year. No doubt they want to get better on that side of the ball.
Johnson will get a couple. Cole, Lane said that he's going to have as many as 11 guys that'll come in mid-year and some JUCO guys that will play right away on defense.
Yeah, you don't think that they need some guys coming on defense and be able to play right away? I mean, they're looking for bodies who can give them an immediate impact on that side of the football. Had to be an emphasis, was an emphasis, and obviously should pay off for Ole Miss in 2021.
Pickup of a couple there. Sam Williams is one of those guys that forced Johnson to the bench. He's looked good since he's come in. Johnson throws it, and it's caught. It's a first down catch for the Rebels, and it's Trey Palmer with his 8th catch of the year.
Cole mentioned Max Johnson's ability to manage the pocket, the scramble on the first down. That time a clean pocket to work from and able to deliver a good ball to Palmer.
Johnson wants to throw the deep ball one-on-one, but he leads Boutte too far, incomplete.
Stretch the defense a little bit.
It goes back to some of those intangibles, Stinch, when you're raised by a quarterback, you expect a guy to understand all of those things around you. To me, quarterback is not necessarily an effort position. It's an understanding and decision-making position, and that's what I've seen from Max Johnson early in his LSU career excel at.
1 second and 10. Johnson will roll out, fakes, tries to get rid of it, and does. It looked like his knee might have been down as he threw this football. He had Jaquez Jones, a junior from Tuscaloosa, at his feet.
At that time, the pressure, he gets caught up short. Does he keep his knee up? It's up there, the ball's out. I think he gets rid of that football before he would have been established down. And it was hard to tell. You know, the Ole Miss sideline was arguing, I think, two different things. One, that he was down. The other, they maybe wanted to say that it was grounding, but it looked like Boutte was clearly in the area. Agree with Cole. Not necessarily an effort position. Great effort that time by Max Johnson, though, just to get rid of the football and avoid the negative yardage play.
LSU only has 67 total yards of offense, but once again, special teams and defense has helped them have the lead. Johnson under heavy pressure here, gets rid of it, almost picked off. Best chance at that football was Miles Battle, as Boutte was the intended target.
That's a dangerous play. You talk about raised by his dad, a quarterback in Brad Johnson. They'll talk about this one. Steve Isminger will as well. Lucky to maintain possession. You turn your back to the line of scrimmage, you're rolling to your right as a left-handed quarterback. That is a dangerous throw.
Von Rosenberg's third punt of the first quarter. Drummond takes it inside his own 20. And he is tackled up near the 34-yard line. Nice open field tackle by Nick Storrs, one of the tight ends. You know, you're talking about Max Johnson and his dad, Brad. He's a freshman from Athens, Georgia. Grew up in Watkinsville. Here's Brad and Nikki, both great athletes in their own right. Brad, a Super Bowl champion. His mom, Nikki, a great volleyball player. Made his first career start last week and was terrific in the swamp, throwing for 239 yards and 3 touchdowns. And now his first start in Tiger Stadium today. Stinch, I know you used to block for his old man in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
That's right. Yeah, one of my favorite teammates of all time. in Brad Johnson. Just a great guy and a huge quarterback, man. I mean, a lot of times you could just whiff in protection and dare the defensive end to try to tackle that big old dude. But there's no doubt that Max Johnson has got a good bit more mobility than his old man, that's for sure, and is seeking to get this offense going for LSU.
Corral escapes first down into LSU territory. It's an interesting slide there as he creates a big divot in the middle of the field.
Maybe the most unathletic slide I've ever seen. He kind of hangs a 7-stud. Look at that. I think he almost rolled his left ankle. You have to work on that in practice. Great scramble yards, great athleticism, but didn't necessarily stick the landing.
Corral's going to have to learn a little bit from some of these baseball players like Ely behind him that plays for the Rebel baseball team on how to slide into second base. This guy can do it, and he picks up a handful. Cole, we haven't seen Ole Miss establish the ground game as of yet.
Yeah, one of the misconceptions about this team is how good they are on the ground. I thought they'd go to it a little bit earlier.
Go to it 2 straight plays. And it'll be about 3rd and 2, Stinch. You would think without Moore and without Yeboah, as the game goes on, Lane will call some more running plays.
Well, you know, we see a scramble. They call a pass play on first down. You end up scrambling at quarterback, come back with a run, but definitely a good way to settle down your quarterback who's thrown a pick 6 and an offense that has stalled out since the opening possession.
See if he calls a 3rd straight running play on the 3rd and 2.
You would think so, given their propensity to go for it on 4th down.
Fakes the toss and then hands to Ely, and that was just very slow to develop. It's a loss of 1, as Tigers were all over the football there, including Jacqueline Roy. He's looked terrific the last couple weeks.
And here they are, 4th down, but you're right, slow developing. Too clever by half with all the ball handling.
This is an easy call for Lane Kiffin, a 4th and 3 in LSU territory. Corral throws the deep ball and is picked off again. Stepping in front is Todd Harris, and that's the second one Corral's thrown here in the first quarter. But flags come in as we might have a late hit.
During the return, personal foul, intercepting team number 23. Unnecessary hit on the quarterback. 15-yard penalty from the end of the play. First down, LSU.
So the interception stands, Stinch, but Micah Baskerville lit up Corral after the pick.
This is after it's over. It just boils Matt Corral up. During the return.
Correction, the penalty is half the distance.
See the blindside block. I'd be interested to hear from Matt Austin. And Matt Corral can make a play on that return when Baskerville came in and got that shot in on the quarterback of Ole Miss.
Block, because he didn't see it coming. It was a big shot. It was totally unnecessary. Quarterbacks don't go make a play very often, so that's a good flag by the referee.
So the Tigers get it back again after another Corral turnover inside the 15-yard line, and Josh Williams will get a few. Now, you don't want Corral throwing it to LSU, but the worst scenario there, Stinch, would have been an incompletion. That would have given LSU the football near their own 40.
You're exactly right. You end up losing yards by having generated the turnover. But interesting, we said off the top that Corral, he's been aggressive throughout this season, but here in this game, almost reckless on that 4th down. Lucky that the penalty pops up. The return yardage wasn't even greater, but already with the pick 6.
Johnson stands tall, throws a strike to Boutte, and after the catch, he gets back to where about Ole Miss had the ball, near the 40-yard line.
So a little time off the clock, maybe a little bit more effort, but here LSU is, as if
that's the end of the first quarter. Timeout.
So after the big win in the Swamp last week, LSU against one of their biggest rivals, trying to finish the season with a victory here in Tiger Stadium at the end of December, the latest we've ever seen this game played. 10-7 LSU, Coach O, 44-14 in 4.5 seasons as LSU's head coach. Certainly a lot of adversity after winning the national championship in January. Said, quote, lots of inaccurate noise to deal with this year for all the opt-outs and injuries and losses of coaches. Max Johnson, his new quarterback, the true freshman, finds Coy Moore down in Ole Miss territory at the 35-yard line.
It was a heavy play action, and it was just enough to bait up the linebackers and open up that throw over the top to Coy Moore.
26-yard pickup, and now to the ground goes Josh Williams, and he'll get 1 or 2. It's interesting what Coach O said about handling all this noise. He said Lou Holtz once told him, quote, always going to be a problem when you have 125 guys on the team. It's how you react to it. Still have my dream job. Every day I remind myself I'm the head coach of the LSU Tigers.
Yeah, I mean, he immediately zoomed right out and said, yeah, we might be 4-win football team, but there is a broader context. He is thrilled to wake up every day and get to coach this Tiger team.
Williams on a 2nd and 9, and Josh puts his foot in the ground, cuts it back to the middle of the field. 1st and goal, Tigers.
Well, we were just talking about it, Cole and I, during the break. Where's the run game for LSU? You should be able to push this Ole Miss defense around. And how about that run? Nice push, crease the edge, get downfield.
Williams straight ahead, and he does not get to the end zone. Got inside the 2 before he was tackled. It'll be a pickup of a couple. Sonogo keeps him out, but finally you see a commitment by LSU going to the ground. No Davis Price today. Instead, Josh Williams, Chris Curry, and Trey Bradford getting the carries, and Williams is inside the 1.
So here comes the quarterback sneak, guys. I mean, they were converted it versus Florida repeatedly, and Coach Ogeron said, we learned at Missouri, we're not going to line up in the shotgun and hand it off 5 yards deep.
That's what it is. Did Max Johnson get in there? Looks like they're going to say short, 4th down.
Well, you could see Johnson was not going to extend that football. A lot of quarterbacks do that. They'll try to jump over the pile and extend the ball. The ball gets punched out. Johnson kept it in his right arm.
Try it again. Johnson gets the push. Touchdown.
Well, we talk about playing with his dad. I don't know that Brad Johnson was ever denied on a QB sneak. Maybe one of the best at weaponizing the QB sneak. And his son is building his own resume. Converted some short yardage plays last week. Key plays versus Florida. Back-to-back QB sneaks to get the LSU offense in the end zone.
17-7. Cole Kubelik's asking Stitch during the break, where's the running game? There it is. Touchdown, Tigers.
Peter Burns with another studio update. LSU fans know championship weekend can be crazy. Think 2007. Notre Dame already up 3-0. The golden child, Trevor Lawrence. His pass is picked off. Notre Dame on the doorstep of scoring again. Could be up 10-0. What an interesting game in the ACC championship game.
And how about that? Irish got him the first time in South Bend in that game of the year in double overtime. See if they do it tonight to to keep themselves undefeated going into the playoff. Ely from midway back in his own end zone. Wise decision. Look at this. Ely gets through there. 105 yards.
He took that ball from 5 yards deep in the end zone. I'm sitting here going, what is the kid doing? This is a terrible decision. More than 5 yards. He's almost 8 yards deep.
I shorted him.
Jerrion Ely said, forget it. I got a full head of steam by the time I'm on the field to play. Nice blocking downfield, too, by the Ole Miss Rebel kick return team.
It might have been closer to 107. And Logan makes it 17-14. Of course, it's officially a 100-yard kick return because for some reason they don't give you the extra yardage no matter where you are in the end zone, Stitch.
Man, I'm saying 107, maybe 108. And we were talking with Ely the other day saying, hey, man, do you realize y'all run the football that much? He's like, gosh, yeah, not really. This is one way to get him some touches. We're talking about LSU run the football, Ole Miss doesn't run the football much. Get number 9 a touch in the return game, and he takes it to the house. You got to wonder if the kick cover team kind of relaxed, thinking, wow, that's a deep kick in the end zone. As you see a Ole Miss Rebel being attended to on the field during the return, you almost wonder if the cover team took their foot off the gas a little bit. Surely he's not going to bring it out, but he did. Caught him sleeping.
Coach Joe not happy with that on special teams as it gets the Rebels right back into the football game as Lane Kiffin watches Ely with the house call. Back in just a moment. Right after Jerrion Ely went about 107 yards for a touchdown, there was an injury on the field. A backup tight end, Jonathan Hess. Now watch Lane Kiffin. Go down. Go down. Telling Jonathan Hess to take a seat instead of coming off the field. And there you go, Stinch. What's that about?
But you think there was a 9-play drive by LSU before that kickoff. You got an Ole Miss defense. Seen a lot of snaps, seen a lot of quick turnarounds. This offense scores quickly for Ole Miss, but not usually that quickly. So you have to think maybe he's just trying to get his defense a chance to get coordinated and maybe a little bit of a blow early on in the game. Otherwise, I don't know what advantage you're gaining by coordinating that.
Williams doesn't make it back to the 15, so Ole Miss takes it to the house, and LSU only gets about 12 yards on that return with a nice tackle made by Kentrell Bullock. And LSU will start deep in their own territory at the 14-yard line.
So if we roll back to that previous possession, and we're out here wondering, where's the run game? 2 passes, 7 runs. They finished that previous drive, 6 straight runs to end up in the end zone. See if LSU stays on the ground.
Nope. Going to the air, and it's an underneath throw. And it's a good one for a first down. Jerade Jenkins makes the catch, the sophomore from Louisiana. Stitch, he's one of 15 people to catch a pass for LSU this year in this crazy season of roster turnover.
Well, hey, man, if you're deep on the depth chart at receiver at LSU, just stick around long enough, and eventually the guys ahead of you might walk off the field, say they don't want to play anymore, and you'll get your shot. Guys have stepped up.
Now they go to the ground. Trey Bradford with more than 5 Cole as they've established the ground game here in the second quarter.
Yeah, that's the worst rush defense in the SEC. You kind of wondered why they wouldn't come out and attempt to lean on it. Maybe make Max Johnson's life just a little bit easier getting that run game going here in the second quarter.
Certainly a nice push on that run.
Jones going over to the sideline with his helmet off. One of the leaders for DJ Durkin's defense that has had such a difficult season that Cole just alluded to. seems like there is going to be a position-by-position tryout if we have spring football in March and April to start for the Rebels in 2021. Bradford right near a first down. Looks like he got enough.
Nice patience by Bradford on that run. He's kind of pecking around in the offensive backfield before he tried the right side of the offensive front. Cameron Wire in there at right guard. As Cole mentioned off the top, Cason Hines for LSU out due to injury at right guard. Still nice push in the interior portion of the LSU front.
Johnson, deep ball over the head of Moore. It's 2nd and 10. Yeah, you think about this, Stinch. Ty Davis-Price not available today. He was banged up in the game against Florida. Coach O said John Emery would be available, but we haven't seen him yet. He got banged up, hurt his shoulder last week. So now you go to the 3rd, 4th, and 5th string tailbacks this week. Williams, Curry, and Bradford.
Next man up. And obviously Curry with the season-high carries, 17 touches last week versus Florida. And it just speaks to the fight that's left in this LSU football team and the depth of talent that they have, albeit young talent. A lot of true freshmen and sophomores contributing, especially offensively.
2nd and 10. Rebels bring some pressure. Incomplete. As Butte stays on the ground for an extra second. Dean Leonard was right there.
A contested throw. And now 1 for 6. 3rd downs, and you see it. Sonogo running underneath that route. He had coverage on the back, out of the backfield, and you wonder if that was enough to disrupt the vision of Butte on that catch. See if they can convert 3rd down, which has certainly troubled LSU all night. They have not done a good job of getting it to 3rd and manageable. Too many 3rd and longs.
On 3rd and 10, Johnson will take off. First down near midfield.
And that's an element that Max Johnson brings to the quarterback position that they did not have with TJ Finley. Finley, more of the pocket passer, nowhere to go with the football downfield, and Johnson just does a good job of getting upfield quickly, sliding just past the Tiger Eye to pick up the first down.
And it wasn't the greatest slide we've ever seen, but it was significantly better than the last one.
Yeah, certainly better than Matt Corral's. It looked like he was going to roll his ankle at the end of it.
I'm sure Brad Johnson has been teaching slide drills in the backyard for decades. Here's Bradford. He got loose into the Ole Miss secondary near another first down.
That time, good job by LSU covering up the second-level defenders. You can see Ole Miss, the linebackers, committing to the line of scrimmage at the snap of the football, and they hit him right in the backside A-gap, right off of that right hip of Liam Shanahan, the center for LSU.
Now Johnson to the air, to the sideline, and it's too far in front of Butte. Incomplete. Second down. LSU now with 81 yards rushing here in the first half, most of which have come in these last 2 possessions.
Yeah, starting to stick with it a little bit more. Surprising it wasn't an emphasis earlier, but now you're starting to see the ground game emerge. You get a nice run, you come back with a play-action pass on first down, you miss it. You see right now Max Johnson checking at the line of scrimmage, a light box. Will they hand it off?
They do. And Bradford will only get a couple. Good job by Ryder Anderson to get a hand on it. So Max Johnson has been so smart with the football all season, Cole. He hasn't thrown an interception yet. He's got 3rd and 8 here.
It comes down to decision-making and having an understanding. When you hear the coaches talk about how much time he spends watching film in the facility, he does not operate like a freshman quarterback. You wonder how much it helped to be around Joe Burrow when he got here early and was able to participate in the bowl practice.
Yeah, that's a good point there. He escapes this and makes the wise decision, and that's maybe the difference. We'll see if they throw the
Quarterback
flag
was
here.
outside the pocket. The ball landed beyond the line of scrimmage. Incomplete pass.
Looked like the right call, but it's the smart call too, Stinch. Live to see another play. You have a 3-point lead, punt it away.
No doubt. Once again, though, you see Max Johnson a couple of times. When he has to roll away from pressure and against his throwing arm, turning his back to the line of scrimmage, he's wisely thrown it away. That time got outside the pocket. But you're right, preserve the down, keep the field position and punt.
Von Rosenberg, he did it again. Not just a cannon for a leg, but just outstanding, pinning the opposition. The Rebels will have it at their own 5. Rain jacket on for Lane Kiffin as it starts to fall here in Baton Rouge. Tigers lead 17-14. Now what? Lane Kiffin just a moment ago asked his player, Jonathan has to go to the ground. Matt Austin, SEC rules analyst, what are your thoughts on eliminating this from college football?
Well, the problem, one of the problems on the field is the officials have no control over this. If they see a player on the ground, they have to treat it as a legitimate injury. So it's out of their hands. But in the rule book, there is a highlighted section in the front that specifically talks about how unethical it is for a player to fake an injury. The rules committee, for some reason, has not elected to do much about it besides putting that in the book. But this is as blatant as I've ever seen, and I certainly think they could use this as evidence.
Number 64. The penalty is half the distance to the goal from the spot of the foul. Repeat first down.
One of your old buddies, Jason Autry, with the call there. Nick Broker holding on that play. Stinch, what are your thoughts on what we saw there?
Well, I agree. I've never seen one that was that coordinated or coerced as that. I mean, it was quite literally like instructing, hey, here's what you do. We've seen him do it with receivers and quarterbacks as a play caller. But literally instructing the guy to go down. And I still don't see what the advantage necessarily was, especially at this stage in the game, on the heels of a kickoff return for a touchdown.
You might have bought yourself an extra minute of actual time. Corral wanted to punt, instead keeps it himself, and he gets the first down. Gay got a hand around his helmet for the first down run. Cole, you were there field level. What are your thoughts on what we witnessed a moment ago?
Yeah, I obviously think that there is some strategy to it. The only thing that I've ever thought of when it comes to these situations is to at least, and this obviously wouldn't apply on special teams, but defensively is where we usually see it, to only allow for the injured player to be substituted, because obviously a defense can change their personnel, they can make mass substitutions. That might be one way to limit it, but it obviously wouldn't have affected it there.
Yeah, you could tell with Matt Austin's terrific explanation there, all of us would like to eliminate it. It's impossible to measure if the player's actually hurt. Corral's showing off these legs into the LSU secondary inside the 40-yard line. Lane Kiffin wanted a late flag, too.
Yeah, he's thinking that, here my quarterback is giving himself up. Another ugly slide, but a great play by Matt Corral as the pocket deteriorated around him. And so far, this Ole Miss offensive front has been kind of a bright spot, but they have struggled in this game, especially in protection.
51 rushing yards for Corral. Faking the handoff to Ely, trying to load up Gay, got a hand on it and got the football.
The Corral's climbing in the pocket, and Gay is just retracing
on the defense
on his pass rush.
First down, LSU.
So you see the play fake. Corral comes off it, and he ends up having to move off of his spot. It was Neil Farrell Jr. that ended up pushing him off his spot. Gay strips the football and then picks it. That's a surefire way to make sure that, hey, man, there's no discussion. Don't worry about this, whether the ball's going forward or not. Strips it and then catches it on his way down to the ground. What a great play by the LSU defense.
And Stinch, we're being told that's a forced fumble and fumble recovery for Gay instead of an interception. Drop in the breadbasket of Palmer. Second down. Regardless, it's a turnover for Gay, but if I'm a pass rusher, very limited opportunities to get an interception in my collegiate career.
You can see, you're exactly right. Yeah, that doesn't pop up very often. Maybe you mess around and tip a ball on an attempted screen pass, and if you're Matt Corral right now, 2 picks, and now what was ruled officially a fumble, the turnovers. And right now, LSU defensively getting great takeaways and good field position for their offense.
And a quarterback that's been really smart with the football when he's been in this season. Johnson taking off there as we have just over 5 minutes to go in the second quarter. Corral with 3 turnovers here in the first half.
You know, and unlike LSU, who has at least a known quote-unquote backup, TJ Finley, who started more games than Max Johnson this season, they have an alternative. Right now, John Rice Plumlee, he has not played in the past couple of football games.
When there's an empty backfield, that usually means a Johnson is going to take off, whether it's Brad or Max. And Sun takes off. He's short, though. It's 4th down.
Offense staying on the football field, depending on how short it is, and that's nearly 2 yards. And LSU lines up in the shotgun.
Ole Miss is so confused on defense. Lane Kiffin was trying to get a timeout. Instead, it's a first down, and it's a touchdown for Butte.
You're right, Taylor. Ole Miss was confused. Did not know where to line up. You pull Chris Curry out of the backfield. Then ends up pulling the linebacker out of the middle, and it's just a shallow cross, a mesh route, right over the football. Easy read for the quarterback. Butte breaks open. Johnson throws a strike. The Tigers are in the end zone again. Great job by the Tiger defense setting up their offense.
3 touchdowns for the true freshman Keyshawn Butte on the season. 1 in each of the last couple of games. He's become the star receiver now in Tigertown. Keyshawn Butte with the touchdown, and LSU is up 24-14, but it might be his buddies on defense that have helped Max Johnson and company out, picking off Matt Corral a couple of times. Gay got the football away from him last time, and now, wisely, LSU will kick away from Ely with a short pooch kick. Let's go back to that touchdown, Stinch.
Well, we talked about how it's just 2 shallow crossers, but watch Palmer, number 33 for LSU, coming across in man coverage. Beautiful look at it. I mean, as you're wide open, and the reason Butte is open is because you're running those crossing patterns. The shallow crossers underneath, you're in man coverage. It's easy for the defender to get picked off by the other crossing route. Easy read for your quarterback. Max Johnson throws a strike. The Tiger offense able to put up another 6 points. Corral
goes underneath to Jerion Ely, and Ely has a first down, and he's down to the LSU 40. One of the best plays we've seen for Ole Miss on offense so far, and it's Ely out of the backfield for his 15th catch of the season. 1st and 10, and now Ely to the ground, and he will get a few. Cole, what's been the biggest problem for Corral today?
Obviously the turnovers, but I think the lack of the running game. You're allowing LSU defensive linemen to be able to tee off. That play right there is what I think we need to see more of. The stretch play, the outside zone. That sets up this entire offense, in my opinion, and slows down those edge rushers.
This time Corral keeps it himself, and it's another first down near the 26-yard line, Stinch.
You know, that time a designed QB run. We've seen a couple of scrambles from Corral in this game, notably on that previous possession, to kind of get them some breathing room. Back-to-back scrambles from Corral, but that time a designed QB run to pick up some positive yardage on first down and convert.
Throws a little pass to Parrish. Parrish gets a block, and he has a first down inside the 10, down near the 5. True freshman from Golds, Florida, gives the Rebels a 1st and goal.
A great catch by Parrish. I mean, fantastic concentration.
Now Parrish to the ground, and he's down near the 2. all drive long, Stinch. It's been little bubble passes, quarterback keepers, and pitches to the tailback. Smart, conservative play calling, and Parrish pays it off with a touchdown. You're missing your top two targets in the offense at wide receiver and tight end. Keep everything right in front of you. And Ole Miss goes all the way down the field for the touchdown.
Yeah, how about hitting the backside of the backfield a couple of times? Downfield passing game has hurt you. So you're able to get down to the doorstep, and then Parrish, a guy that they're really high on. True freshman for Ole Miss. A kid out of Florida. It looks like he's kind of jumped ahead of Snoop Connor behind Jerrion Ely as a ball carrier.
Logan sneaks that one in there. It's a 3-point game with 3:07 to go in the second quarter. Sunday at 6 Eastern, we'll have the SEC Now Bowl Special, an in-depth look at the SEC teams playing in a bowl game, plus a preview of the college football playoff semifinals with team breakdowns and comprehensive analysis like only the SEC Now team can provide. Like everything else, it's also available on the ESPN app. Cole Kubelik, is there a path to the playoff for the Texas A&M Aggies after finishing the season 8-1?
I absolutely think that there is. I think the Notre Dame-Clemson game is a wash. I don't think that that's one that you need to pay attention to. I think it would require an Ohio State loss and an Alabama win for them to have an opportunity to get in. Oklahoma right now is the team to watch, in my opinion, because that committee has made statements in reference to Big 12 teams this year of leading their conference and sitting atop their conference. Statements we've never heard them utilize for an LSU last year, an Alabama this year, a Notre Dame this year, maybe trying to prop up the Big 12 champion as one that they could potentially try to push into the college football playoff.
Oklahoma beats Iowa State 27-21 to win the Big 12. Buckeyes came from behind in the fourth quarter to knock off Northwestern, so they finish the season 6-0 as the Big Ten champions, and Clemson is up 14-3. So, Stench, it might come down to one-loss A&M and either two-loss Clemson or one-loss Notre Dame.
Yeah, and going back to Cole's scenario,
why is it not undefeated Ohio State though?
That's true. 6-0.
Yeah, 6-0. Maybe the least impressive of all the resumes in teams that are within striking distance, especially when you consider Ohio State sitting there. They play two teams with winning records. They come from behind with a less than stellar performance offensively, albeit a conference champion. But you have to think Iowa State sitting at number 6 for a reason, to make that Big 12 championship look a little prettier.
Johnson, just the easiest pitch and catch with all day to throw to Butte, and he gets 21 yards.
Kayshon Butte, we talk about the guys that aren't available for these teams. And Kayshon Butte has stepped up big in the passing game for this LSU offense.
Johnson, way down the field and just outside of the reach of Butte. Second down.
In the 9th target for Butte, back-to-back looks for number 1, and could have come up with that one, should have come up with that one, frankly. That was a well-placed ball.
4 catches, 85 yards, as you see. Very late substitution with Ryder Anderson coming on the field.
Ole Miss, second charge timeout of the half. This will be a 30-second timeout.
So Max Johnson will go talk to his coaches. We were talking about the rankings and how this will all shake out. Alabama against Florida at 8 tonight. Notre Dame trailing Clemson 14-3 in Charlotte. Buckeyes come back to beat the Wildcats. And Cole makes a great point. Why wouldn't the Buckeyes be vulnerable because they only played 6 games? It's hard for me to imagine the committee after a conference championship dropping Ohio State's in.
It seems as if the incentive is, and they've said this before, that they value conference championships. Well, and we've seen this, 2014, where The Big 12 didn't have a conference championship game. They have co-champs. And Ohio State gets in there, but they were referencing data points back then. And they had a 13th data point. Well, data points are out the window if you're looking at teams that played half the number of games as other teams have. The Big 12, the ACC, the SEC, they're able to find ways to play north of 10 games for their conference champions.
Williams to the ground, gets through the initial pursuit and picks up near 9. So it'll be third and manageable. LSU, of course, not part of the picture this year with that 4-5 record after starting 2020. Completing a 15-0 season in a national championship. That was a long yard to go, and still quarterback keeper for 14, first down Tigers.
The yard's never long enough. If it's third down and 1 and 3/4 of a yard, it's third down and 1. When you got a Johnson at quarterback, it's QB sneak. Third QB sneak that we have seen in this ball game, and you can see the wisdom of it. Once again, LSU able to convert. Nice push guard to guard. And a lot of times you're facing a defense that plays a 3 down front. It's not easy for them to plug up the middle.
Now Johnson wants to go back to the air again. Plenty of time to find Palmer in that suspect Ole Miss secondary down to the 26-yard line.
LSU going to the passing game on first down. Especially when they get around midfield plus territory. They're not scared to open it up a little bit. We talked about getting the ground game going, but on first down near midfield and on the plus side, they're opening it up on the passing game. That time able to hit a strike.
Johnson pumps, then throws it away. Didn't like what he saw, second down.
Like he was trying to get it to Trey Palmer again. That time bracketed. Johnson ends up sending it into the stands. You see what they like about him. You know, we showed the QB stats earlier. He's protected the football. It's the difference in the ball game so far is his ability to maintain possession. Throw the football away a couple times as he just did on first down.
Hard studier. Just passionate about studying the game. Coach Ensminger really loves that about him. Says that he is Coach Ensminger said he's far more mature than I was at that age. Of course, Ensminger also started as a true freshman quarterback, but Ensminger has made it clear on several occasions, Stinch, I can still kick his butt.
Not just his, but big TJ Finley's. We need to expand that question. Who else does it include? Is it just the QB room, or are you looking to take on the rest of the team?
Timeout. LSU. First charge time of the half. It's a 30-second timeout.
On the auto insurance halftime report, CD, Chiz, and PB will have a look at what's going on with Clemson and Notre Dame. A&M, after Tennessee had the hot start, dominated that game. The time of possession again, over 40 minutes of having the football in an SEC championship game preview. I know the Aggies aren't the most impressive looking team because of the skill players not being as great as they typically are, but Jimbo Fisher's ability to dominate control of football is just remarkable.
Yeah, I mean, not just Jimbo, but the Maroon Goons. Those big boys up front, the offensive front, one of the more impressive units in the way that they operate their offense. Those guys do a great job not only in protection, but able to generate rush lanes for what's proven to be a pretty good run offense. One that's certainly done a good job of complementing Kellen Mond at quarterback, the passing offense with new faces at receiver.
Hey, speaking of time of possession, LSU's had it for over 18 minutes. This is their 51st play in the first half, and it's another Butte catch. And he gets 8 yards. It'll be 4th and short. Nice tackle made there by Keydron Smith.
Butte came out of that pivot route and was well short of the first down. They were looking for run after catch. That was a nice open field tackle to deny the yardage needed. And we're saying 4th and 1. That's that 4th and 1 3/4 we were talking about earlier. That's outside of the QB sneak range as LSU lines up in the shotgun.
Johnson will throw to the end zone. Butte wide open. How in the world does LSU's top target get that wide open, posing for pictures in the end zone?
Well, you fill up the backfield a little bit. So you got a blocker there in the backfield. And Cole Taylor, a back alongside. You're thinking maybe handoff downhill versus a rush defense that struggles, and instead you take a shot at the end zone and find payday.
Third straight 100-yard game for Butte. Another perfect extra point for Cade York. And the spread is 10 points again.
When you talk about Ole Miss going forward on fourth down, how about LSU? I wonder if Coach Ogeron consulted the analytics book on that one, or if he just went with his gut. Either way, Tigers, a touchdown.
Cole, Tom, Jordan, and you've been talking about the analytics of Ole Miss going forward all season. Coach O doesn't necessarily subscribe to the same theory, but he did there.
Well, and you know, I kind of like the way that Coach O put it to us, that he does have a guy on staff that has the analytics book, but Coach O usually said that he kind of looks back and says, expletive the book. And Coach O doesn't like to go with it. Similar to kind of an old school mindset that Sam Pittman has over at Arkansas. Pittman told us that he said, they like to go analytics, I go Sam-alytics. And I usually tell him, no, we're not doing that. But Coach O obviously feeling pretty good about himself today.
Yeah, I love the story that Coach O told you. He said, Stitch, you'll know my guy that I've got over there. He's Russ Callaway. He's Neil Callaway's kid. And he usually always just says, the book says go for it. And yeah, like Cole said, we cannot repeat what Coach O said next. York trying to kick this, so there's no way that anybody can come out. Dennis Jackson thought about it for a second. But the Rebels will get it at their own 25-yard line with 1 timeout and 58 seconds to go.
Yeah, normally you're sitting there thinking, Ole Miss, 58 seconds, they got a timeout to play with. That's a lot of time. The difficulty that they've had, though, is that when they've gone downfield, we have not seen them hit that big pass play yet. That last scoring drive that Ole Miss had, it was fueled by passes to the back out of the backfield and a Q run. As you see Lane Kiffin say, hey, let's go. Let's jumpstart this 2-minute drill. Let's see how aggressive they are with 58 seconds to play.
Corral, nothing down the field, has to throw it underneath and just gets maybe a yard with Henry Parrish. With no more, no Yeboah. Downfield receivers have been covered up. We haven't called Jonathan Mingo's name yet.
Well, he's gotten some targets. They have not been able to get him the football. And it's been interesting because that was a name that we expected to really step up. He's in the slot, typically where Elijah Moore would have been. They slid him inside.
Corral doesn't like what he sees again, has to take off. It's going to be right at the first down marker for a first down with 39 seconds to go. And an injured player, that's Andre Anthony, the senior from New Orleans. Certainly don't want to lose him. He's been terrific the last few weeks. A reserve player his last 3 seasons, only 1 sack before this year, but has stepped up 4.5 sacks and he's done a great job with the pass rush in recent weeks, had a couple of sacks against the Razorbacks.
He has. And in fact, that entire defensive front has really cranked things up. You know, when you look at last week, they were able to get 8 QB hurries, 4 sacks of Kyle Trask, and they have harassed Matt Corral. And there's Anthony right there, right defensive end. And it looked like he was holding his hand. So maybe on that chip from Parrish, nah, it was on that shot. He thought he was going to get Matt Corral, and then right at the end, he took a shot, like from Jeremy James. Ole Miss right guard. He's kind of working that left shoulder a little bit. Probably got a stinger. Happens sometimes, especially when guys get popped in the side of the head. Stretch that nerve out in your neck, and all of a sudden that left arm looks like it's grabbed an electrical socket or something. See him working that left arm. He'll be back, I think.
So keep in mind, LSU got it first. So if Ole Miss can get something out of this, they do get the football first to start the second half. The game clock is running down near 30 seconds now. Corral in trouble, and that's going to be picked off. Another bad decision by Corral, and Jabril Cox picks it off. He has 10 career interceptions, now 3 with the LSU Tigers.
Well, Bo Pelini said Jabril Cox is like a nickelback. He's just a big, overgrown nickelback. So he's in coverage on Parrish. This is never going to be an issue from a coverage standpoint. The problem is Matt Corral, he didn't get anything on that throw. And he's clearly under duress, doesn't look out there. Cox is underneath it. And once again, it's the LSU pass rush that has been able to generate opportunities, not only in takeaways, but in denying this Ole Miss offense. I can't say enough about the down 4 of the Tiger defensive line.
And Max Johnson gets the start at the Rebel 19. And it's more, and LSU will use one of their 2 remaining timeouts. And let's go back to Corral here for just a second stint. You saw the 4 interceptions that you talked about. Initially, they gave Ali Gay
timeout. LSU, 30-second timeout.
And a fumble recovery, and then they changed it to an interception.
Lost his helmet during the previous play and must remain out for down.
So here are all those picks that Corral has thrown so far in this game.
You know, that one is kind of a clean pocket. That's a great job by Ward. They're trying to get the ball to Mingo. Downfield throw on a 4th down. Probably would have been better if LSU doesn't pick it off. This was ruled an interception. Looked like a strip fumble recovery to us. Regardless, the common theme has been the pocket. And Matt Corral has made poor decisions under pressure repeatedly. A couple of times he scrambled, but the times where he sought to throw the football, it's been disastrous. Credit LSU defensively. The takeaways that they've generated now 2 games in a row versus prolific offenses and quarterbacks that can hurt you. It's been the difference in the 2 ball games.
This Corral performance reminds you what happened in Fayetteville earlier this season. Now Johnson trying to pay it off. It's incomplete, looking for Cole Taylor, but stride for stride with him was Otis Reese.
You see this LSU offense, and we're talking about an end-of-half scenario. 58 seconds, is that too much to leave Ole Miss offensively? Now, of course, you flip it around, and LSU with an opportunity, 11 seconds. You squeeze in a couple more plays and pick up a 1st down. See if you can't take another shot in the end zone, perhaps.
And you can use the whole field because LSU does have 1 timeout remaining. Johnson, the design quarterback keeper, never could get out of the grasp of Sam Williams. And LSU will have to burn their last timeout.
Timeout. LSU. It's their 3rd and final timeout of the half.
Tuesday on our next SEC Inside, we'll grant you an all-access pass to tonight's SEC Championship game between Florida and Alabama. You'll get never-before-seen footage and sounds from players and coaches. It's at 6 Eastern right here on SEC Network and the ESPN app. That tackle by Sam Williams, a sack. That's his 4th sack of the year. Cole Kubelik loves that guy. As a senior from Montgomery, Alabama, he's been a bright spot on DJ Durkin's defense in the last handful of weeks. Cade York now from 33 yards. And we will go to the half. 34-21 LSU.
How about that LSU defense? I mean, take nothing away offensively, but repeatedly giving their offense a chance. And it looks like they're going to put...
There's 2 seconds remaining when the field goal is good. Kickoff for LSU.
A couple of seconds back on. LSU went to the squib kick for a reason. Jerrion Ely already taken one to the house. Be shocked if we see the ball even go in the air with 2 seconds left after that field goal. But the LSU defensively, boy, if they stepped up big in this game. Repeatedly getting stops, turnovers, they got a score of their own. Cito Ogeron exchanging a brief couple of words with Bo Pelini, and it's been a beleaguered year for LSU defensively, but boy, they've strung together a couple of nice, really, the second half versus Florida, they stepped up, and here in the first half versus Ole Miss, they found ways to set their offense up repeatedly.
And what's crazy, Cole, is Glenn Logan was really the only guy that was on the field the whole game in January. Throughout the entire calendar year, there's just been massive transition on defense.
Massive turnover, and I think opportunity is what has injected some energy. Coach O told us when we sat down with him, he said to see some of these freshmen, some of the younger players that haven't had that opportunity, the energy stuck out on film, and he feels like it's rubbed off on some of the other players.
Tried to kick it away, and they're going to down it with 1 second, so Ely downs it immediately. Try to give Corral one more shot.
Well, we've said it repeatedly, versus a defense that has hemorrhaged big plays in the passing game, it's been the opposite in this contest. Matt Corral only 131 yards in the air. We talk about the last touchdown drive for Ole Miss, and he's not throwing it downfield. He's throwing it in the backside of the backfield. It's the horizontal passing game. And you have to think, in the first half, and somewhat unsurprisingly, a football team that hadn't played a game in 21 days, minus their top 2 pass catchers, Elijah Moore, one of the most electric offensive playmakers in the country, and it has shown here in the first half for the Rebels.
You couldn't have said it better, and it's Ely who had the biggest play for Ole Miss in the first half. It's a first down run, but it ends the first half. Ole Miss will receive the second half kickoff as LSU takes a 34-21 lead into the break. In the final game for the Tigers in the 2020 season, Max Johnson, a couple of touchdown throws. Keyshawn Butte over 100 yards receiving in that first half. And 4 turnovers created by the Tiger defense as Matt Corral threw it to him. The Rebels will try to regroup here with the weather coming down in Baton Rouge. And Cole's with Coach O.
Coach Kiffin, what will your conversation be like with Matt Corral at halftime?
Well, we've already had those conversations. Can you hear me? We've already started those conversations about doing better. We've turned the ball over 4 times in the game. It's a 2-score game. So we look like a team that hasn't played for 3 weeks. Really sloppy, not managing the game well on the sideline. So, really should be down a lot more. So we get the ball first. Let's go make it a 1-score game.
What can you guys do as a staff, maybe from a play calling perspective, to boost his confidence in the second half?
Well, we're not running the ball, so that doesn't help. And so we've been here before with him, and we just got to rally and have a better second half and play like he has for most of the season.
Thank you, Coach.
All right.
34-21, LSU leads Ole Miss at the break. Now it's time for the Auto Owners Halftime Report. Here's PB.
Thank you, Taylor. Welcome inside the Auto Owners Insurance Halftime Report. Peter Burns, Gene Chizik, Chris Doring from Shreveport to Slidell. Tiger fans got to be pretty happy with that. What impressed you the most in that first half, Chiz?
The defense. All year long they've been much aligned. And go back to last week when they had 3 turnovers, a pick 6 that changed the game at Florida. Now you're seeing some of the same things again today. 4 turnovers today, CD, worth 20.
SEC Network football, the Magnolia Bowl trophy on the line for the 109th time. LSU has the lead 34-21 as we start the third quarter. With the College Football Hall of Famer Matt Stinchcomb and great offensive lineman Cole Kubelik, I'm Taylor Zarzer. Let's take a look at the first half stats. Stinch, 4 interceptions thrown by Matt Corral. Actually, 4 of his last 10 passes have been picked off,
which is remarkable. And then you look at the points off of turnovers, 24 of the 34 that LSU's been able to muster. You look at the average starting position, LSU nearly at midfield. And then, my goodness, the 4th down attempts. You would have thought it would have gone Ole Miss's way. It's been LSU.
The pick six that Jay Ward took back to the house. Ali Gay gets credited with an interception there, first of his career, and Lane Kiffin had a little conversation with him. Meanwhile, Max Johnson pays it off with a couple of touchdown strikes to Kayshon Boutte. Over 100 yards receiving for Boutte in the first half.
Man, and for the third straight game. And we talk about Terrace Marshall, no Eric Gilbert, no Jamar Chase all season. And LSU just produces yet another weapon at receiver.
And it's Jackson coming out from 5 yards deep. Not the same sort of fortune that Ely had earlier on. Down to the field in Cole Kublik.
Yeah, speaking of Jerrion Ely, I asked Coach O. Taylor, what are the big adjustments that you need to make at halftime of this game? He said, well, don't kick it to number 9. He said kickoff cover team will have to make some adjustments. He was a little frustrated with that. He said he thought that LSU could have a little more success against the Ole Miss defensive front, running the football. And now that the rain is here, Coach O said ground and pound probably going to be where they turn.
And I would think that Ole Miss would try to play in a little bit of a bubble too, as the handoff goes to Ely, and Ely is tripped up in the backfield. How about Maurice Hampton, the sophomore from Memphis, tackle for loss?
Yeah, no way to start the second half. Ole Miss obviously wanted to get back untracked offensively, and you start off with a handoff. Where's the ground game to help out their quarterback?
Fake to Mingo, who has no catches, and instead it's dropped by Ely on what would have been a huge game.
Wonder if the elements play a role in this drop by Ely. Baseball player, and he's not on a football field. The ball's not out in front of him, it's behind him. He spins Ely around. Definitely a catchable ball though, there's no doubt. Look at that rain coming down, back out of the backfield.
Corral stays upright, loads up. Way down there, one-on-one, and it's picked off. That's Ward again. And that's the 5th pickoff of the game for LSU.
They almost hang this ball up. And at some point in time, from a decision-making standpoint, you're going to start wondering, is Ole Miss going to have to make a change at quarterback? Because this is pressure again, and you're just throwing it up. Now you could say that that's as good as a punt from a field position standpoint, but more than anything, it's, did you think this ball had a chance? Hang that football up. You just had to escape pressure, and Jerrion Ely has to get up there and end up making a play downfield. Once again, LSU in plus territory to start the drive. We saw the drive starts in field position. The average was near midfield in the first half.
Crazy to see the struggles that Corral is having today, as Williams does not get much there. It's just a pickup of 1 as KD Hill makes the tackle. 11 of those 14 interceptions, Stinch, have come in 2 games. 6 against the Razorbacks and 5 today.
Yeah, it's like they come in fits and starts for Matt Corral. And given the elements and the way that they've played so far in this football game, down 13, you wonder, are they going to be able to get off big chunk yardage plays offensively?
And this is caught by Moore, making a move back to the field and right near a first down.
Well, of the young guys that LSU has had step up, obviously Kayshon Boutte, the type of performance he's put together, but Coy Moore was a guy that the coaches repeatedly brought up. They felt like he's a guy that we got to get some more targets to him. So far, he's had the ball thrown his way 8 times, come up with 5 catches.
From the 34, Johnson to Boutte, down to the 26. It's a pickup of 8. Well, you were saying maybe a quarterback change. There's John Rice Plumlee, who had over 200 yards rushing against the Tigers last season in Oxford, but hasn't played much this year. And Lane Kiffin and Jeff Lebby's new offense. Not much for Williams there. He's short. It'll be 3rd down as Hill was in there again for the tackle.
Yeah, we talk about the quarterback situation, 2 totally different scenarios. Now you see John Rice Plumlee with his helmet on over there. It's also raining like crazy. As we see yet another QB sneak. and a successful one at that by number 14 at LSU. The coach always emphatic
If
about
I had
that.
a
It's
helmet, I'd be
interesting.
wearing it right now too, guys.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it necessarily means that JRP is going in the game. Although, if things continue, you almost have to wonder, what they're going to do offensively. You just can't afford to continue to turn the football over and forfeit field position the way they continually have.
It's a great decision this offseason. A SEC Network helmet for Kublet. As Moore makes another one inside the 20 and is tackled by Sonogo. Tigers back in the red zone once
Taylor, you
more.
brought it up a little bit earlier that you brought it up that Coy Moore was a guy that was going to have to be a big replacement player for LSU this year. And you had Jamar Chase opt out at the beginning of the season. He was a guy that this coaching staff said they needed to step up immediately, which is pretty interesting considering at Rummel High School, the player who graduated that Coy Moore had to replace is none other than Jamar Chase.
They come from everywhere in Louisiana, sometimes from the same school in Kenner, Louisiana. The flag is on the field after a Williams first down run.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense, number 76. 5-yard penalty, first down.
And Coach Insminger did say, Stinch, that Moore was the guy to watch for today. We all knew that Butte would be targeted, but Moore would be the next man up, if you will, in that LSU receiving corps.
Yeah, so they're like shark teeth. There's another row of them. A couple of them fall out. A couple more teeth just roll to the front. There's Racy McMath. We hadn't seen him since Arkansas. They just have other guys that step up on the perimeter.
Johnson, end zone, just out of the reach of Moore with Finley in coverage.
He had a shot at it. Johnson's got really quiet feet in the pocket. You see that? Nice, clean, wide pocket to work in. Just a little too much on that throw for Moore. And it is really coming down in Baton Rouge. Get that helmet on, Cole.
Chin strap buckle.
2nd and 15, and it's Bradford. He gets through, and he's tackled at the 5. Finley prevented the touchdown, but LSU all game has been able to get past that initial defensive line.
Bradford, I'm surprised he doesn't substitute out. They don't send somebody out there. Look at him holding that left shoulder. He's begging for somebody to notice, hey, I'm not right. They're going to leave him out on the field?
Evidently so, on what is a 3rd and 4 from just inside the 5. Johnson in that pistol set. Here come the Rebels to the end zone, and too far in front of Moore, and Ole Miss prevents the touchdown and forces a York field goal try.
Well, you want to say a big stop by Ole Miss defensively just to avoid yet another touchdown. The hole's getting deeper and deeper for their offense, prolific though it may be. Hasn't been much this ball game. And if anything else, it's hurt Ole Miss's opportunities, generating scoring opportunities for LSU. This is potentially another 3 points off a turnover for the Tigers.
York is phenomenal outside of 50, and he's been automatic with the chip shots today too. His 3rd field goal, and now it's a 16-point lead for the LSU Tigers. Can Matt Corral get going, or does he get replaced?
Peter Burns back here with a studio update. Missouri Tigers trying to claw their way back into it in Starkville. Connor Bazelak to Kiki Chisholm. Now 34-18. Now back to a place I heard it never rains, Tiger Stadium.
9:50 to go in the 3rd quarter. LSU up 37-21 after the 5th Matt Corral interception led to a Cade York chip shot. And this will go out of bounds and give Ole Miss pretty good field position. So who's coming on the field for Ole Miss at quarterback? Here comes John Rice Plumlee, the sophomore from Hattiesburg. He's out there, but Corral's out there too.
Well, we've seen this a time or two, but it was earlier in the season.
Free kick out of bounds. Kicking team. Ball be spotted at the 45-yard line. First down, Ole Miss.
You see that during the break. Plumlee trying to lift Corral's spirits a bit. Plumlee's gotten rave reviews from Levy and Kiffin for the teammate he's been all year, but certainly has a skill set that does not complement Lane Kiffin's offense. It was more of a Rich Rod type player. And so Corral is still in there, and it's Parrish on the ground, getting 7, maybe 8 yards. And Stinch, when Ole Miss is committed to the run and little bubble screens, they've moved the football down the field.
They have.
Is
You
down.
see Cordell Flott down, yeah. Defensive back for LSU. We already mentioned Derek Stingley not playing. Second game in a row. This will be his 3rd missed game, and now Cordell Flott injured on the play.
Sophomore from Saraland, Alabama, needing some attention. Back in just a moment. Well, we're back here with LSU and Ole Miss. That's Eli Ricks that you see on the field. Ricks leads the SEC with 4 interceptions, 2 pick sixes from Rancho Cucamonga, California. Comes all the way to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Why did he come all the way there? For more on that, let's go to Cole Kublik.
Boy, the 6 degrees of separation in football never cease to amaze. That is 7-year-old Eli Ricks with Lane Kiffin, head coach at Southern California at the time. He would attend the camp every single year. His mom, Shauna, tells me, happy birthday, Mrs. Ricks, yesterday, by the way. There's Eli again with Lane Kiffin. The Kiffin camp is what it was called, but he was coached by Ed Orgeron during the camp. Ed Orgeron said the effort of Eli stuck out at different moments in time, and he told Eli during that camp, when he was 7 years old, you're going to come play football for me one day. Fast forward to Eli's sophomore year in high school. He came to camp here at LSU. Shauna, Eli's mother, had to flag down Ed Orgeron after one of the days of camp and showed him the photographs of Eli and Ed back in Southern California. Ed had a good laugh and said, yeah, your son's impressed me. What the heck? You get a scholarship offer. Come play for me here at LSU. That was before Eli Ricks turned into a parade All-American, one of the best defensive back recruits in the nation, and the Army All-American game MVP, and now ends up here as a defensive back for Ed Orgeron at LSU.
Amazing story. Meanwhile, Ole Miss down the field, 25-yard run for Corral, and then Braylon Sanders makes the catch, and the Rebels are in business after 17 more to the 16-yard line. Now to the ground in Parrish, and Parrish is down near the 10. Cole and Stinch have been clamoring all game for Ole Miss to establish the ground game, and Stinch, they've done it on this drive.
They have, and it started with the called QB run to kind of jumpstart this drive, and then a nice catch to Braylon Sanders before that Parrish carry.
And it's Parrish again to the end zone, touchdown. That's his first rushing touchdown of the season, and it's a 10-yarder. And we'll see if Coach Kiffin thinks it's too early to go for 2.
Now, how about that for an answer for Ole Miss? I mean, nothing was going well offensively for Ole Miss. And all of a sudden, they're able to get right back in the end zone. Nice cut block on the backside by Nick Broker. A two-hand touch from Jabril Cox, just trying to get a hand on Parrish as he gets in the end zone. And here's
I saw a couple of nice finishes from Nick Broker on that drive.
Yeah, he had a couple of dumps. It looked really nice. As you see, it looks like Glenn Logan.
It is.
Looked at, and it might have been that backside block by Broker that got it. These defensive line coaches, defensive linemen, not a big fan of those backside blocks. Not sure if that's what happened on that play or not, but on this two-point play, John Rice Plumlee is in the huddle for the Ole Miss Rebels, along with Matt Corral.
trying to make it a one-possession game. Corral has set a career high with 96 yards rushing, having that 25-yard run to help set up the touchdown. So just wait for Logan to get off the field here. So we'll see where number 10 lines up. It's at quarterback with Corral, one of those receivers initially, now at quarterback, and there's Plumlee. Back to Plumlee, can't get the ball, and down he goes. Lots of trickeration, and Ali Gay wasn't falling for it.
Even if Plumlee fields that pitch cleanly, Ali Gay's right on top of it. We've seen this a couple of times from Ole Miss in this game. You see Plumlee to the left of the formation. That's Gay at the top of your screen. Now watch it, a handoff, a flip to Plumlee. And I think Gay's right on top of him almost immediately, even if Plumlee fields that cleanly. That's a lot of ball handling in a torrential downpour for a guy that just got into the lineup.
Academy Sports and Outdoors is making it even easier on you with in-store pickup. It's all new and basically means you go to academy.com, order whatever you need, and come get it in store. Get in, get out, get back to having fun with your family.
So Coach Kiffin sticks with his guy, Matt Corral. He pays off with 6 points. 37-27, LSU on top of Ole Miss. Rebels are headed to a bowl game. Maybe the Tax Slayer Bowl in Jacksonville or the Liberty Bowl in Memphis. This is it for the LSU Tigers. And LSU will start at the 25-yard line. Back to the studio and Peter Burns.
All right, thank you, Taylor. You ready? There it is. Dan Mullen, the Florida Gators have arrived at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. They hopefully arrived a little bit better than they did against LSU last week. Looking forward to that 10th meeting all time between Alabama and the Florida Gators. And not only an SEC championship game, but perhaps Heisman Trophy winner crowned.
Could be. Last Saturday night, Max Johnson got the best of the Gators in the swamp in his first career start. It's been good today, too. 242 yards, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers, and they've scored on 4 straight drives. Curry, we haven't seen much of him today. He's tackled by Sonogo. Not much doing there.
And you can see Ole Miss spinning a safety down late. That way that they can get an extra defender around the line of scrimmage. And Ed Ogeron was sharing with Cole, we're going to turn this thing into a little ground and pound, maybe a 9-on-7 drill versus a run defense that isn't that great. We still haven't really seen a dominant run game from LSU.
All day to throw, and it's Taylor who gets 2 yards and keeps both shoes on. Have you ever seen anything like that, Stinch, last Saturday night?
Yeah, I've never seen a shoe fly that far. It was impressive. I mean, the follow through was nice, and then the fact that he was able to get it 20 yards because they're not aerodynamic. Or are you just talking about the fact that the guy threw the shoe, period?
Both of them. Mainly that Wilson threw the shoe.
I wonder if Taylor's got his shoes spatted up. Can they even come off this week? Put some tape on the outside.
Coach O said everybody's asking him for shoes now for Christmas. Johnson on 3rd and 8. Tried to get it to Williams, but into the LSU bench. So here it is last week. This could have been LSU's last play on offense of the night. Could have led to a Florida win. Instead, Marco Wilson takes Mr. Taylor's right shoe and chunks it 20 yards down the field, and immediately all those flags come in, 3 of them. And Rosenberg gets the punt off. And a fair catch inside the 25-yard line by Drummond with 6:47 to go in the 3rd quarter. Shoes on in Baton Rouge after the win of the year last Saturday night.
ESPN, home of the college football playoff, coming New Year's Day.
Here in Baton Rouge, Coach Kiffin is stuck with his quarterback. For more on that, let's go to Cole.
Guys, we had Lane Kiffin in Ole Miss after Matt Corral threw 6 interceptions against Arkansas earlier this year. It was a big conversation that we had with him. Asked him, did you consider taking him out? Did you consider making the change? And he said, absolutely not. It never crossed my mind. I know my quarterback has confidence. I know he has a short memory. They got us on a couple of things defensively. We didn't see it. We didn't make the adjustments early enough, but never considered taking him out of that game.
And while he has stayed in the game, he's made more of a commitment to the ground. 16 yards on the first play for Ely, and about 5 more there, Stench.
Well, and it's their first down runs now, opening up these series with the ball on the ground. They're averaging 6.2 yards a carry on first down. It's opening up the rest of the possession.
Nothing going there, though. Micah Baskerville in the backfield. It'll be 3rd down.
Negative yardage play. Baskerville did a good job diagnosing and triggering quickly right there. And Ely had to stop his feet. And by the time he did, Baskerville was there to get him on the ground.
Missed last week with an illness. Back this week for the Tigers. What does Corral do on a 3rd and 8?
Haven't seen many targets to Jonathan Mingo in the slot at the top of the screen.
To the ground. First down for Parrish. Into Tiger territory. Stays up on his feet down to the 36. Ward went for the ball instead of trying to make the tackle.
It's well blocked. I mean, look at this hole, for crying out loud. You're playing a soft box, not many bodies, tackle to tackle. Thinking a pass right there, and Ole Miss takes advantage.
Corral pumps. Keeps it himself. Look at this. Inside the 10, 1st and goal Rebels.
Matt Corral with a couple of pumps on this one. Pumps in the pocket, escapes. Real quick, looks out to the receiver just enough to try to influence those second-level defenders.
Parrish. He's inside the 5 to the 4. John Rice Plumlee might be on the bench, but this looks like his offense.
You're right. And I got to say, when you look at the common denominator for the series that have gone well for Ole Miss offensively, you see John Rice Plumlee there on the sidelines. The ill-fated 2-point attempt on the previous touchdown drive.
Now to the end zone. Incomplete. Trying to force it in there to Drummond. Nice coverage by McLaughlin.
But the common denominator where I was headed was they've either run the football or picked up scramble yards at the quarterback spot. You see now 9 rushes, 123 yards for Matt Corral.
From just inside the 5. Over the top. Touchdown Drummond.
Corral's pass to Drummond complete. The end zone for the touchdown.
How long Matt Corral rode that play fake. Pulls it late. I almost thought he was going to try to throw it out in the corner. And instead gets it in there to Drummond. Lets him ride that fake. In the middle of the defense opens. He just slides it right in there to Drummond.
Bad snap. A flag does come in here. We'll see if LSU was offsides.
Illegal snap, offense number 88. It's a dead ball foul, 5-yard penalty, repeat the try.
So the fact that it was missed doesn't matter, as Mac Brown had trouble fielding that snap from Jack Probst. But Logan is bailed out and will get another try at this to make it a 3-point game. Let's go back to the studio and Peter Burns.
Well, LSU fans made this trip last year. Here's Nick Saban and the Crimson Tide arriving at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Now, Saban has had some success in this game. He's had 2 SEC championship wins with the LSU Tigers and, of course, 6 with the Tide, his 10th appearance overall. Just under 2 hours to kick off in the ATL.
Can't wait for that tonight with the Tide and the Gators. Cole, I know you said you think Alabama wins this one by a couple touchdowns. First, we have a personal foul. Let's see what that is. And I want to get Stinch and Cole's thoughts on how the Gators have a shot in this one tonight. Is our referee Jason Autry goes and talks to Coach Kiffin.
After the play, personal foul, defense number 7. The 15-yard penalty will be administered on the kickoff. Try is good.
Cole, how do the Gators pull off the big upset in Atlanta tonight?
I think you got to try to go with the same game plan that Florida had and turn it into Ole Miss had against Alabama and turn it into a complete track meet. The problem is Florida's DNA is not to go fast. They're not a tempo team to the extent that Ole Miss can be. When they're going warp speed, I think you have to just trade touchdowns with Alabama. I don't anticipate the Florida defense can get enough stops to potentially be able to make things happen. I would expect Todd Grantham to play a high-risk brand of football to try to create any sort of turnover, any sort of mistake that could be an advantage for Florida.
How about you, Stan?
You almost want to catch fire. I like the Ole Miss sidelines right now with their fire extinguisher over there. Just blasting whatever that stuff is. I wonder if that's an actual fire extinguisher.
I think they're trying to make it feel like the swamp last Saturday night.
I'm told that is. I'm told that they call that all hands on deck, and it goes back to a game a couple of weeks ago that they had against Mississippi State when one of the heaters kind of caught on fire and smoke was just blowing out everywhere, and they're just trying to replicate it on the sideline.
Dribbler.
Minus the actual
That's
fire.
a real thing, by the way.
Goes to Taylor, who is down at the 21. Coming up at 6:30 Eastern, SEC Nation crew will wrap up the 4 afternoon games. This is actually going to be well after 6:30 Eastern. As soon as this game is over, get you set for the Gators and the Tide. And after the game, you can head back to SEC Network for a full breakdown, interviews with players and coaches. You can always watch on the ESPN app if you're out and about. That's certainly what I like to do. That's coming up when this one is over with. Max Johnson hands it off to Josh Williams, and Williams does not get much. And suddenly, the Rebels have the momentum, Stinch.
Yeah, that defense stiffening on the ground game. And you look at LSU, the previous drive, 3 plays, only 2 yards. The Rebels able to capitalize on it. And you think back to LSU, off the last Ole Miss turnover, only able to muster that field goal attempt, which is just that's the margin by which they lead now.
2nd and 8 for Johnson. All day. Just too much time. Butte past midfield. Out of bounds inside the 35.
What a tackle. This Ole Miss defense, not only all day for Max Johnson, time for Butte to break open, a 3-man rush. You got 6 in to protect. You do the math. That's 3 double teams.
47-yard pickup. Chaquez Jones with a tackle for loss on Josh Williams, but it's the lack of pass rush all season long for Ole Miss that's been their biggest issue defensively.
Well, now LSU has matched Ole Miss in this game in the number of explosive plays at 20 yards or more with that play from Butte. Each was 7 now.
2nd and 11. Johnson incomplete to Jontre Kirkland. Getting a hand in there was Miles Battle.
Just enough. We've called Miles Battles then a couple of times. There at the end of the half. And now here again in the third down now to set up a 3rd down here in the 3rd quarter.
Max Johnson, 140 pass attempts this year, no
see if Ole Miss brings some additional rushers. They got burned last time with too much time. Again, a three-man.
Johnson tries to step up, and then it's to the sideline, and Kirkland can't make the catch again. Fourth down.
Couple of drops now. And you think about last year for LSU. They had, I think, 11 drops going to the SEC championship game. Right there, Johnson just trying to keep it alive. You got to make that catch for your quarterback. Easily a catchable football by Kirkland there. Couple of drops and another drive that gets stalled out to force a field goal attempt.
Well, the good news is you got the best kicker on the planet from 50 plus. York for his 6th of the year, and it's right through the heart. This guy is unbelievable.
Wow. A little fog, downpour, whatever. You just got to make it interesting for the guys. Too good. Doesn't matter how far you seem to back him up. You mentioned a 60-yarder there in the first half. LSU might have considered it.
So it's a 6-point game now with 2:16 to go in the third quarter. Now let's take a look at today's Gatorade fueling performance, Stinch.
Matt Corral, and it was a rough first half. Make no mistake, but the guys turned it on. We talked about the total yardage that he's able to generate as a runner and as a passer, and it seems as if he's kind of settled into a groove here in the latter half of the third quarter. I wonder if that's going to be able to persist. LSU defensively, they've been able to get stops. They've been able to generate takeaways. The special teams has set them up with short fields. Can they survive the next quarter and 2 minutes left here in the third?
Well, Dennis Jackson from the goal line with a nice return past the 30-yard line up near the 33. If you're just joining us, Ely went 107 yards for a touchdown earlier in the game. No Elijah Moore, opting out 2 days ago, leading the country with receptions as he had 86 on the year, and that's not what you want to see.
No, especially when you consider that Ole Miss, 11 of their last 13 plays have been runs. That encompasses the last 2 possessions, both for scores, and you see Ely's a lead blocker, and see he gets rolled up right there at the end of that tackle. Might be the most athletic reaction to an injury I've ever seen. He almost did a headstand, but that right ankle got rolled up on at the end of that tackle.
Well, Cole, you wondered this week what the running back rotation would look like. We've seen Ely carry it 12 times, Henry Parrish 9 times. As we look at this one more time as Ely gets rolled up on. Cole, we haven't seen Snoop Connor tonight.
Have not. I watched him in warm-ups. He looked okay there. And obviously just a situation where they felt like Parrish was going to be the better option tonight. And it's the first time we've seen a heavy workload for him this season. So I've been impressed with what I've seen, but agree with you. Has to be a little bit of a question mark, Taylor, as to why no Snoop Connor in this game.
Parrish, 9 carries, 59 yards and 2 touchdowns. You see Snoop there, who's got 7 rushing touchdowns on the season. Going back to the bench.
More of a power back is Snoop Connor, bigger guy, downhill runner. So now it appears that Henry Parrish will see his workload increase even more.
Rebels have established the ground game on each of the last 2 possessions. And Corral has 123 yards rushing in this game. That's a career high. Empty backfield for him on this first down. Taking off, staying on his feet near the 40. It'll be second down.
How about avoiding the tackle of Micah Baskerville? Looked like he was going to get tackled for a minimal gain, and Corral does a great job spinning out of that.
Now it's Parrish. Not much running room there, maybe a yard. It'll be 3rd and short as Baskerville comes up to make the tackle. And again, these are the kind of plays that former offensive coordinator Rich Rodriguez called all last season for John Rice Plumlee. But Kiffin is showing, this is my guy. Matt Corral, living and dying with him on this 3rd and 3.
See, emptying out the backfield again now. Snoop Connor, it looks like. Now motion back into the backfield. The first action we've seen of him tonight.
Here it is. Snoop fighting for it. It's going to be a yard short. So it's going to be 4th and 1 for Coach Kiffin at his own 42-yard line.
Yeah, it didn't look like there was any hesitation. Matt Corral was looking over at the sideline. He knew he was just getting the play, not the go-ahead.
Fake to Snoop. Corral, first down.
Well, at first I thought it was a broken play. So they fake the downhill, and then they go to an option look. Corral just keeps it himself. That's a couple of nice runs by the quarterback for Ole Miss. Spinning out of tackles, picking up positive yards, and that time to convert a 4th down.
30 4th downs on the season. 30 times they've gone for it on 4th down this year. Corral, first down throw to Drummond and inside the 30, and now the Rebels are in business. And that's the end of the third quarter. With Ole Miss on the march. Matt Corral has overcome 5 interceptions in this football game, leading the Rebels back within 1 possession and deep in LSU territory in this regular season finale in late December, the Magnolia Bowl, with 15 more minutes to go.
Peter Burns with a studio update outside the footprint. Death, taxes, and Notre Dame struggling in a big game. Clemson's Trevor Lawrence, arm strength check, Vidal Sassoon hair, and now a great scramble. 31-3, all Tigers over the Irish.
Boy, you said it, PB. Every time the Irish have the stage, they get blown out. Meanwhile, the rain is coming down as we start the 4th quarter here in Baton Rouge with Ole Miss on the march. Ontario Drummond with a 31-yard catch to get him to the 25. And on the first play to the zone, Braylon Sanders, touchdown.
Well, Eli Ricks went down with some type of injury. As you see Corral toting Sanders off on their own. If he's injured, he needs to just go down. Regardless, goes up, makes that catch. Great protection, clean pocket, hangs it up. Stevens can't get over from safety in time. Sanders able to bring this in. What do you think, man? Look how it rains like that. You turn around and you try to find a football, the water's falling, raindrops all in your face. Ole Miss with a chance to take the lead.
And it's barely through there in the rain, and it's the first time they've had the lead since Braylon Sanders' first touchdown catch, which made it 7-0. As they work on the senior from Hogansville, Georgia, over on the sideline. What a comeback for Matt Corral and the Rebels, overcoming 5 interceptions to take this lead.
Yeah, it looks like right as he's going down, that right ankle gets rolled up. Watch here. Right at the end. Boom. right ankle just kind of torques, his right foot kind of torques out. Didn't even properly celebrate that touchdown catch.
Kobe Stevens.
Still working on it.
Well, I will tell you guys, I'll tell you this, guys. Matt Corral was one of the players that was helping carrying Braylon Sanders off and was kind of talking to him in his ear back and forth. And you could tell he kind of did not like the answer that he was getting from Braylon when he was asking him about the injury. They're looking at his right ankle now and not putting much pressure on it as he heads towards the 10th.
You would hate to hear that. 2 touchdowns tonight. What a game he's had in the regular season finale for Sanders and the Rebels. Just an incredible comeback, down 16 points at one point. Established the ground game, over 200 yards rushing, and now with the lead. And out comes Trey Palmer. He gets past the 20-yard line. It's the last Saturday of the regular season, so represent your school one more time. Show us how big you're going today. Submit your best fan video this weekend to hashtag #ShowYourSaturday, and you might just get your 15 seconds of fan fame. Well, Ole Miss takes the lead in part because they go for it from their own 42-yard line and convert. Means they've gone for it 30 times on 4th down and kicked a field goal or a punt 29 times on the season. Never seen anything like that before. Max Johnson across the middle. Boute's been wide open right there in the Ole Miss defense all night long, and he's very quickly into their territory.
Well, as impressive as Keyshawn Boute is, from being a sure-handed receiver, his yards after the catch tonight have been equally impressive, if not more so. Just exploding once he secures the ball in his hands.
47 more. He's got 211 on the night as Bradford will get a couple. What a performance by the true freshman.
No doubt. You know, he has really stepped up. You know, we talked about a couple of drops from Kirkland in the earlier series and the ground game. In the 3rd quarter, LSU only ran the ball 8 times. Talking about ground and pound. They didn't go anywhere. 21 rushing yards. It was not the beginning of the second half we anticipated.
Johnson, Boute.
Got a ring to it, there's no doubt. You see him once again, over the middle too, where we've seen him make his most dangerous plays in this passing game.
Just unstoppable. Johnson, after a bad snap, keeps it himself. It gets down to the 10. Cole, what kind of adjustment can this Ole Miss defense make?
Well, you got to rule your safeties up a little bit earlier, but I tell you, it goes back and really reminds me of last year's offense. The thing that I thought separated Joe Burrow from a lot of other great quarterbacks that I had seen in the SEC in quite some time was he bludgeoned the middle of the field. Going back to that tonight and having a lot of success with it.
He sure is. As now Johnson over 350 yards passing in the game. Looking for more. And the lead. Instead, it's underthrown, and he throws his first career interception, A.J. Finley.
Well, A.J. Finley, he showed up big in the first half, been quiet since. And you just knew Keyshawn Boute was going to get a look, and Finley was ready for it to deny the Tigers and get a huge stop for the Rebels.
Well, Max Johnson throws his first career interception, and it was a big one. Keydron Smith with the pick. We gave A.J. Finley entirely too much credit, although Finley has had a great game. There's Keydron, the junior from West Palm Beach, Florida, with his first interception of the season and his 3rd of his career. That guy can fly. He chased down some Florida Gators and prevented a touchdown earlier this season, one of the fastest guys on the team. And this time he uses his hands to give Ole Miss the football back as LSU, it looked like Stinch was about to go in for the go-ahead score.
Yeah, at the very least, you're thinking if somehow Ole Miss gets that stop, you're kicking a field goal, one of the best field goal kickers, to eke ahead. At least give you some margin, and instead, the Rebels defense getting a takeaway in the red zone.
And it's Parrish who will get ahead to the 25-yard line. It'll be 3rd and 5 from there.
And we talked about when we were visiting with the Ole Miss Rebel offense and offensive coaches, the strength of the LSU defense, their defensive front. Those guys are going to have to start stepping up big, not only in their pass rush, but versus the run stunts as well.
Corral, first down.
Unreal. I mean, it's been Matt Corral scrambling as much as anything else in this football game. He's done a much better job of it here in the second half. In the first half, he was forcing balls up. Now he's tucking and running.
Back to the air. Mingo with his first catch tonight. Jonathan Mingo, the sophomore from Brandon, Mississippi, the leading receiver now for Ole Miss, with Moore and Yeboah out, gets 26 yards. Parrish will get a couple. Perfect pass by Corral to Mingo here, Stinch.
And you see it on the ride to Parrish. And he just drops it over the shoulder. Great job that time by Matt Corral and his touch.
Parrish, first down for Ole Miss, down near the 25-yard line. This guy's been the third-string tailback all year rather, but has stepped up tonight. That's his 14th carry, over 80 yards now in the game.
You can see what they like in him, there's no doubt. I mean, he's definitely got some twitch to him with the ball in his hands.
Snoop Connor. Snoop down inside the 5.
This Ole Miss rushing offense here in the second half. And it's not always the running backs, as we've already mentioned. Matt Corral with his carries as well. Sometimes not designed runs. That's been the difference here so far in the second half in their comeback.
And now, LSU.
Look at the Rebels going crazy on offense as they force an LSU timeout. It's 1st and goal, Ole Miss looking for more. 41-40, Rebels on top, season high, 288 yards rushing. Cole Kubelik, how about the adjustment Coach Kiffin has made in the second half? All right, we'll get to Cole in just a moment. 287 yards rushing for Ole Miss. On the game, 188 in the second half. Inside the 4-yard line, Stench, and you would think Snoop Connor and Corral will take it from here.
Yeah, you got your power back. He's in there kind of under duress with the injury to Ely.
Here he is, and Connor's got no place to go as they finally clog the mill. Micah Baskerville comes up to make the tackle.
He was at right now. That's a great play by Micah Baskerville. He's had kind of an up-and-down season. He's had an up-and-down game, but was in the backfield almost immediately for the LSU Tiger defense.
Faked the pitch back to Connor. End zone incomplete as Mingo was out of bounds.
Again, trying to get it to a big target in Mingo. McLaughlin works the receiver, runs out of room. That's a great job. The official's right on top of it. Mingo comes up with a catch, but just not in bounds.
Connor late to get off the field with Parrish checking in. Corral keeps it himself. He's short, just inside the 2. Jabril Cox prevented the touchdown.
It looked like he was trying to set up, like he was going to try to throw to Parrish out of the backfield, trying to influence the second-level defenders and then tuck and run and get downhill.
Well, you would think that Lane Kiffin would keep the offense on the field here on a 4th and goal. He hasn't thought about kicking chip shot field goals all season. And it's Snoop Connor checking back in. You see that.
Timeout. LSU. Second charge timeout of the half.
Ole Miss has kicked the football 29 times, gone for it 30 times on 4th down this year. Ole Miss, they go for it. That's what Lane Kiffin does. And they're doing it again. As you see, he's done it more times than kicking the football all season. What's the play call on 4th and goal, Stinch?
Well, you saw Kiffin. He's already raised his hands like it should be a touchdown. He wouldn't share something with the line judge.
Snoop Connor, fake to him. Corral walks it in. Actually, the only person that stopped him was an official. It is a touchdown for Ole Miss, and we hope that official's okay.
Well, the head linesman thought that he handed the ball off. He's running in, I think, to signal. And he's definitely shaken up. You see the players coming over there. The ball fake was so good. So watch the ball fake. It wasn't fantastic. But everybody bought it. You can see the head linesman. He comes in, he's trying to see where the ball is on the handoff.
Really on the field was a touchdown. Timeout.
Matt Corral, of course, doesn't see him. He actually almost makes a pretty nice tackle right at the goal line. I hope he is okay, because he definitely took a shot. Oh, wow. Yeah,
that's Gus Morris. He's the headlines judge, and certainly don't like to see that. But it's another touchdown for Ole Miss on their 4th consecutive drive, scoring a touchdown. Trailed this game 37-21 and have outscored LSU 26-3 since.
It's been pretty remarkable. I mean, and you look at the production that they've gotten on the ground game, but even specifically at the quarterback position. We talk about last year's offense. Matt Corral has run the ball 14 times for 145 yards. He's the leading rusher in this entire game for anybody.
See Corral's numbers, 145 yards rushing on the night, 235 yards, 3 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. All of those interceptions coming in the first half or the very beginning of the second half. Certainly turn the page with the way that Ole Miss has called this game offensively. Ground and pound through Corral in the backfield. 48-40 with Logan's extra point. Sunday at 6 Eastern, we'll have the SEC Now Bowl Special, an in-depth look at SEC teams playing in a bowl game, plus a preview of the college football playoff semifinals with team breakdowns and comprehensive analysis like only the SEC Now team can provide. Like everything else, it's also available on the ESPN app. Be fun to see where everyone is headed. One thing I'm waiting to see is where Texas A&M is headed, with the way that Clemson is beating Notre Dame in Charlotte, North Carolina tonight. 34-3 is the score in that game in the 4th quarter. Do the Irish still get in, Stinch, after this beatdown?
Yeah, it makes you wonder, right? Because you think about it. Triple overtime, you barely beat Clemson at home with a backup quarterback. And they were down some defenders, too, in that game. You know, a lot of credibility, a lot of weight has been given that victory for the Irish. But to catch a beating like they are in a championship game with what's on the line, You have to wonder, are they worthy of staying in that top 4?
Rebels are throwing a party over there on the sideline with the smoke. The ball comes off of the tee. What a turnaround. 27-3 Ole Miss since they were trailing by 16.
Nass is he's the only keeper of the extinguisher over there. The ball can't quite make it onto the tee again.
Keydron Smith, who had a big interception earlier in this half, will go and keep it there as Logan kicks it deep to the Tigers with 8:43 to go. This is Palmer from the 5. Whew, what a hit as the helmet comes flying off at the 25-yard line, and a flag comes in too.
Well, it was Jacquez Jones. No, maybe it was Baker that came in there with the big stick. Jones was running around like he was the one that laid the wood to Palmer. Thankfully, Palmer looks like he's okay.
During the return, illegal block in the back, return team number 10. Previous play is under video review for potential targeting.
They'll take a look to see if Zacharion Baker, the junior from Louisiana, he's the only guy for Ole Miss playing tonight on defense that's from Louisiana, and they're going to take a look at this contact to Palmer's helmet.
Real time, you can't. I mean, it's a massive collision, no doubt.
Let's bring in our rules analyst, Matt Austin.
It does look like the defender, number 32, it looks like he hits him with his face mask in the helmet. So, and I would hate to call that. He's not a defenseless player, so it's got to be crowned to the helmet. I couldn't really tell, to be honest with you.
I believe this will be Jacquez Jones who comes in here. Let's look at this. There's Jones from the left portion of your screen, and that's him. Baker also makes the tackle, but it looked like, Matt, that it was Jones that made the helmet-to-helmet contact.
It did. It looked, from that view, it looked like both of them lowered their helmet, and there was significant contact to the runner's head. So I would certainly not be surprised if this was confirmed on one or the other.
Just one more look at it here, Stinch.
That's Baker for 30. And then Jones is more head-on here. It looks like to me that Jacquez Jones was the one that made the contact to the head or neck area. See that helmet's before Baker made contact. There goes the helmet. Man.
I agree. The defender from the front looked like he knocked his head to the side. Then 30 hit it after the helmet was already moving into him.
Definitely a massive collision. I mean, this is a lot of people. In this game you can't because you've got a kick return for a touchdown, but people get up and they get nachos, whatever, it's kickoff. A lot of fair catches these days. Not in this game. The balls come out. And this was a huge collision.
After video review, number 30 for Ole Miss is disqualified for targeting. The targeting penalty and the illegal block in the back offset will re-kick.
So no penalty on Jacquez Jones, but Baker instead gets the call. And again, it's the player on the right. Jones is the first one to make contact, but it's Baker on the right that gets called for the targeting penalty. So he's ejected, and he'll have to miss the first half of whatever bowl game Ole Miss plays in.
Well, look, if you're Ole Miss, you're going up the 2. You got Jacquez Jones in there. He's an every down player. Zacharian Baker is a special teams guy, more of a depth player at linebacker. Maybe that's why they're over there celebrating. If you had to pick the two guys that could have been involved in the ultimate disqualification, you prefer it be Baker over Jaquez Jones.
48-40, Ole Miss, and a wild one, Cole Kubelik, down there on the field.
No, absolutely. And Ole Miss sideline, Ole Miss fans just getting extremely hyped down here, trying to get everybody pumped up. Ole Miss strength coach is coming down, trying to get the crowd pumped up, trying to keep a lot of energy going for this Ole Miss football team.
What a turnaround by Lane Kiffin's team.
From Wilson Love ever in a game.
Wilson Love is always filled with energy on that sideline for Ole Miss, the strength and conditioning coach who has mimicked Scott Cochran, the old Alabama strength coach now at Georgia. And LSU will get it at the 25. I'm curious to hear from Stinch and Cole about how Max Johnson and the Tigers get back on track, Stinch.
Well, yeah, I mean, they had a nice drive, their previous possession. You just, it looked like he was trying to throw back shoulder, and that ball hung inside. You end up turning the football over. Otherwise, it's definitely, seemingly could have been a touchdown going the other direction. And at the very least, a field goal for LSU. Instead, you turn the football over and cede more points. But here, more than anything else, can you take any pressure off of the passing game? Where is this rushing attack in the second half? Only 27 yards on 10 attempts.
Well, part of the reason is because Butte has been open all night. Johnson, though, throws it at his feet, as Hawkins was there with him, second down.
Off-target throw from Max Johnson. And they're going to Butte, there's no doubt. He was open that time, just off target at quarterback.
Ty Davis Price did not play tonight. John Emery has not played either. So it's been Max Johnson loading up time after time. A flag is down as he gets out of bounds, just shy of a first down. And we'll see if this is coming back.
And that's a good point, Taylor, about the running back position. Regardless, you would think, based on the defense they're facing.
Personal foul, illegal hands to the face, defense number 13. The 15-yard penalty is added to the end of the run, automatic first down.
Sam Williams, watching, he's working against Rosenthal here at left tackle. Yeah, I mean, he's giving him a face massage for about 4 yards. That's an easy call, doesn't always get called. Had those hands high and up in the face of Rosenthal. 3 yards and a fresh set of downs.
Now near midfield at LSU's own 47, just over 8 minutes left. Johnson, again it's Butte. Down to the 36-yard line. Cole Kubelik said move up the safeties, the Rebels don't, and they pay the price once again.
It's either that or you got to get out of man coverage and quit running into each other. I've seen Ole Miss defensive backs run into each other at least 4 times in this game and either cost them a chance to make a play on a football or a tackle.
Johnson was looking for more this time, incomplete. Second down.
And heavy traffic that time as well. Lakia Henry and Mohamed Sanogo converging that time on Moore. And Johnson, they have just hung out this game on the left arm of their true freshman quarterback, Max Johnson. Look at the targets, 11 catches on 18 targets for Kayshon Boutte.
Yeah, those are video game numbers that Boutte has put up tonight in a historically great performance in Tiger Stadium. To the ground they go, and it's Bradford, and it's a first down run.
Signs of life from the ground game for LSU. And it looks as if Cameron Wire signaling over there to the sideline, hey, let's keep it going.
Johnson has gotten the Tigers down here all night, threw it to the Rebels last time, takes off, and slides just short as Ryder Anderson applied the pressure. It's going to be second and short just outside the 15-yard line.
And again, it looked like he was looking for Boutte. Obviously, there's chemistry, but right now it also comes down to trust, given where they are on the field.
No place to go this time. Sam Williams in the backfield with Bradford, third down.
Great job by Sam Williams on this run. Penetration right now, able to beat the block and generate a negative yardage play. You know what's coming on 3rd and 1.
Johnson all night with the keeper. Look at the effort, continuing to fight in that pile. Let's see where they ultimately decide to spot it. It looks like it's going to be maybe an inch or so shy of that yellow line, but it's not official.
You said it, Taylor. It was the second effort by Max Johnson that time. Looked like he kind of spun and torqued to his left after the initial surge.
Well, even though that yellow, and like we said, the yellow line's not official, they say first down.
Once again, the LSU strategy, and then Orgeron's insistence, paying off. If it's short, we're snapping it under center, and we're going to move it a yard.
Boutte is at the top of your screen. Bradford's in the backfield with Johnson. Johnson looks to Boutte to the 1.
About that throw from Max Johnson. You roll him to the left, and he's able to hit Boutte coming across the formation again. And Boutte is banged up after that play. A late substitution. They got Palmer in there. Number 33 in for Boutte at the bottom of your screen.
Well, if history repeats itself, I think we know what's going to happen here.
Well,
Number 14, Max Johnson.
Yeah. And what happened there, Taylor? LSU wanted to go quickly, and you're right. They wanted to run that QB sneak again. But because Boutte was banged up a little bit, he had to come off the field. They substituted Palmer. The officials had to give the defense a chance to substitute in, and they did. Partly, I'm sure, what Ed Orgeron's talking about.
Well, he learned that quarterback keeper from his dad, Brad Johnson, who made a career out of it, winning a Super Bowl with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. There's Little Max, back when they won that Super Bowl, in the pre-Stinchcomb era in Tampa Bay. Oh, there he is, the next year.
I'm so glad you just made that distinction, that the Super Bowl occurred before I got there.
Well, he was following people like you. Yeah, you were a Raider, and then you joined the dark side. Cole Kublik, I bet he's going to follow Mr. Shanahan right here.
We're down here in the goal line. This is where I would get in a 4-point stance and basically just bear crawl forward. You try to get an inch or two, just give up no penetration, try to get that football in the end zone.
Bradford's behind him. Tries to dive in there. Touchdown. Sure, they'll take a good look at distance.
Hey, he kind of jumps. He keeps that ball in tight. I don't think there's any question that he gets in there eventually. I'm not sure he didn't get in there before that second effort. I see some of those LSU guys coming in there. They need to clean up their quarterback getting bent backwards like that. And now the 2-point attempt to try to tie it up.
They're 1 for 1 on the season. Max Johnson kept it himself. Johnson throws incomplete. Jalen Jordan standing in front of that one, and the Rebels keep the lead with 5:31 to go. Johnson gets LSU back into this one, but can't tie it up. What a good one we have at Tiger Stadium.
Just about an hour away from kickoff here in Atlanta of the SEC Championship game. Fans filing in here to see #1 Alabama take on #7 Florida. Devontae Smith getting ready to go. He can jump really high, and what could he do in the Heisman conversation? Well, his buddy Mac Jones also in that conversation, trying to win an SEC championship here. But what will Florida do? Kyle Trask looking for redemption after last week, and Kyle Pitts will play in this game. We'll see you after your game. Taylor and Stinch and Cole, we'll get it back to you guys.
Thank you, Miss Rutledge. Can't wait for that. What a good one this has been. As Ole Miss will start at their own 25-yard line. LSU can't convert on the two-point conversion. Down 2 with 5:31 to go. And it's been Ole Miss's ground game, primarily in the second half, Stinch. They've run for 291 yards tonight.
Talk about flipping the script, because you go into halftime with the lead. If you're LSU, you're going, man, let's shorten this game, slow it down, ground and pound, quote unquote, makes sense. Never materialized, and it was Ole Miss that pivoted to their ground game that fueled their comeback here in the second half.
Doing it primarily without Jerrion Ely injured in the game. It's been Parrish and Connor, and Parrish will pick up 1. Cole, how does LSU's defense get off the field?
We've got to find a way to slow that rushing attack down. Utilize some of your pass rushers. Early in the game, remember, we had multiple 3rd and longs, and you got to see Holly Gay, B.J. Olajari be able to tee off and go after the quarterback. They have not been in the same situation in the second half. And keep in mind, LSU's doing it without Bryn Logan here in the second half. He has a lower extremity injury, so has not played since he went out a couple series back.
Yeah, Logan out. A false start penalty on Ole Miss there. So instead of taking the down, Stinch, it's 1st and 15.
Yeah, see if you can't back them up. And going back to what Cole was saying, that defensive front has to reassert itself. It was the pass rush in the first half. They got to bow their necks versus the ground game. Too many productive plays on 1st and 2nd down.
Corral to Parrish. Tackled by Gay. It'll be 2nd and about 13. What a game Gay has had an interception in the game. Boy, that just does not look like an LSU defense, does it, when you see those kind of stats this season? But when you have the kind of roster turnover they've had in Baton Rouge, you can understand why. Typically, Lane Kiffin calls plays faster than anybody else, but now he's trying to take the time down as much as he can, get a few first downs, and win the game. Remember, LSU is out of timeouts. And Corral takes it all the way down to 2 on the play clock, and he gives it to Parrish. It'll be 3rd and 12.
Well, and as the coaches mentioned, they struggle in 4-minute offense when they're trying to end the game on the field. You see Bo Pelini there, that last time, loading up the box. 3 linebackers, 3 defenders, backing up the line, and now on a 3rd and 12, they lighten it back up personnel-wise, but they loaded up the line of scrimmage on that previous rush.
Kobe Stevens looks like he's ready to attack. At the bottom of your screen on that LSU defense as they show pressure. Now Kiffin will call timeout with 3:47 left.
Timeout, Ole Miss. First charge timeout of the half. It's a 30-second timeout.
Monday we'll have Thinking Out Loud presented by Regions with Alyssa Lang, Spencer Hall, Richard Johnson, and Brandon Boykin. They'll break down the weekend on the gridiron and talk about the hottest topics for the coming week right here on SEC Network and the ESPN app. Texas A&M with a convincing victory earlier today, 34-13 over Tennessee, and is just about over in Charlotte. Clemson leads Notre Dame 34-10.
Wow. And so if you're looking at all this and you're weighing it all out, you have to wonder, the game that Ohio State, the way that they played early, and then Notre Dame getting thumped in a conference championship game. And there you have Texas A&M. 9-game season. You drop one ball game to the #1 team in the country, and decisive. I mean, they lost it going away.
Yep.
But they played almost 30% more football games than games you're considering. The teams you're considering out of the Big Ten, like in Ohio State. You see Matt Corral making this check. Earlier they had Andre Anthony floating around. Now it's Baskerville.
Corral wants to take off, but he's got no place to go. He's in all kinds of trouble. Trying to get rid of it down the field and can't. What a big loss. Neil Farrell with the sack.
Micah Baskerville bluffs like he's going to rush, and then he rolls out. And it looked to me like Corral wanted to run almost immediately. I think it was a design QB draw initially. Regardless, Corral eats the football. Second time this game, where he otherwise would have had an opportunity to at least throw it away to avoid the huge negative yardage play, and instead, you eat the football, drop another 10 yards, and give your opponent a chance to get the ball near midfield, depending on what kind of kick they get off from Mack Brown from his own end zone.
It's Farrell's first sack of the season. Gets it off right as the play clock expires. And it's a great one that's going to take Moore all the way back inside his 35. And he'll be tackled just short of the 45. Just need about 20 yards or so, Stinch, to get into territory for Cade York to try to win the game.
Yeah, I mean, you mess around, break out that fire extinguisher, you get it foggy in there and the rain, Cade York's almost automatic in those types of conditions.
I will tell you guys, the rain and the wind have picked up here in about the last 5-10 minutes down here on the field.
No, that's not going to help. That makes for a heavy football.
It's one thing to deal with the fog in Gainesville. It's another thing to deal with the wind and the rain in Baton Rouge. Max Johnson, no timeouts, own 44-yard line. And it's underneath to Boutte at midfield. Boutte has over 260 yards receiving. It is the best performance by a wide receiver for LSU since Josh Reed went close to 300 19 years ago.
Wow, that's amazing. That's almost hard to believe considering the receivers that have come out of this program and even the type of year that LSU had last year as a passing offense.
Tigers with plenty of time letting the clock run down a little bit here. And Bradford, he's got the first down, at least right at it, the 46-yard line.
Run the football just enough. Clock stops as they move the chains, now getting around 2 minutes. And as you mentioned, a weapon at place kicker, but really difficult conditions. Different ones from what we saw a week ago.
Johnson, all day. Another delivery to Boutte. They can't stop this guy. Look at this. Touchdown, Tigers.
Well, that's a heck of a way to pad your stats. Now over 300 yards. Another touchdown. Sets a record for LSU. And how about this kid's effort after the catch? All game long. When he gets that ball in his hands, he's not done. And he's not going down. He's going to keep fighting for yards. And he's done it time and time again. Boy, clutch. 20 targets, 14 catches, and over 300 yards for Kayshon Boutte, a true freshman.
53-48 LSU.
all day, as you pointed out, Taylor. Watch Boutte fight through these tackles. I mean, it just spins right out of it. And now the only question is, yes, he scored. Did he score too fast? We got Ole Miss.
A lot of ball left.
They have shown some serious explosiveness all season long. Keishawn Boutte, you pick up a big run. We got another official down on the ground. Go down right before the end zone. Maintain possession. You're inside of field goal range. See if you can't bleed some clock. I don't know.
Well,
yeah, you
that's
put
the
points
thing
on the board, but maybe too quickly.
Yeah, and that is the good news is again, you scored the touchdown. Boutte sets the school record, as you said, with receiving yards at over 300. The bad news is if you simply get tackled there, you can run out the clock, Stinch, and kick the game-winning field goal. Instead, you give Lane Kiffin 94 seconds and 2 timeouts. This will be fielded at the 9, and Connor hesitated for a minute, now takes off and snoops up to the 35-yard line. So the Rebels have to go 65 yards, plenty of time left to do so, but can Matt Corral, without Elijah Moore, without Kenny Yeboah, with 5 interceptions, pull off the win?
Well, eyes on number 2 regardless, and look at him, he's feeling it. Corral knows. He's like, hey, man, y'all made a mistake. You scored too quickly. Give me a minute and a half. I got 2 timeouts to play with. The difference in the second half, we talk about the run game, the scramble ability of Matt Corral. He made a huge mistake eating that ball on the sack earlier, but he has been lethal with his legs and when things have broken down, even with intended pass plays here in the second half.
And by the way, just quickly, that was Avery Atkins, the kickoff man that was limping off the field after bringing Snoop Connor to the ground. And this is Henry Parrish in the backfield with Corral. As he's under pressure, dumps it off to Parrish, incomplete.
And that time they brought double barrel, both backers into the B gap, right there between the center and guard and tackle rather. One in the A gap, one in the B gap. Baskerville pressuring Corral right now. Pressure in his face right as he completed his drop and could not throw a catchable ball to the back out of the backfield. Pressure again.
Corral on the move, throws it incomplete. He was looking for Jaden Jackson, but it's Jay Ward in coverage.
Back-to-back snaps where Bo Pelini said, I'm not going to tap dance around. I'm going to go ahead and bring pressure right now. 5 rushers, back-to-back snaps, and got the result that he wanted. He affected the passer. 2 inaccurate throws from Matt Corral.
It's raining so hard you can hear it. 3rd and 10. Corral escapes. First down, Ole Miss, and inside the LSU 45.
Unreal. I mean, that's been the story. He's jump-started drives with his legs. There hadn't been a lot of designed QB runs. That time just kept his head about him, saw the rush lane, and took off.
Still has 2 timeouts. Underneath throw, and it's caught by Jackson. That's his first catch of the year. The clock will run.
A lot of hands on hips from this LSU defensive front. The front 7 players are gassed. Look at them.
Now Corral to the sideline. Mingo's got it. Out of bounds inside the 30. 46 seconds left.
The coverage is going to have to hold up. But I don't think that they're going to be able to get home. You see, look at Jay Ward. Number 5, as you see a couple of guys go down, they're gassed. It's just a way for LSU defensively to try to catch their breath. They're down linemen, and they brought a couple of linebacker blitzes the past couple of downs. Their front 7 players are cashed right now.
And that's Farrell, the senior from Mobile, who had the sack on the previous drive. Cole Kublik, we've gone from an on and off rain to a driving rainstorm there in Tiger Stadium. All right, Cole, I know that there could be some technical issues as it's raining so hard down there in Baton Rouge as Farrell gets helped off the field. Look at that rain, Stench.
Wow. I mean, it looks like the fog from a week ago. And now you're down, if you're LSU, you're down Glenn Logan. Now you're down Neil Farrell up front. You've got Ole Miss that has hurt you not only in the ground game with 46 seconds to play, both their timeouts, but their quarterback who, even when he hasn't had time, and even on this possession, he hasn't. First 2 pass attempts were off target because of it, but on a 3rd down scramble, he hurt you. You have to find a way with your down players not only to hold the point in the run game, but also maintain their pass rush integrity so that you don't have number 2 escaping and running against what is largely man coverage in the secondary. The defenders' backs are to the football.
Just inside the LSU 29, 46 seconds left, and Ole Miss still has those 2 timeouts. Here's the pressure again. Corral wants to take off. He won't get much, and he lost the football. Jacoby Stevens has it.
Really on the field is a fumble recovered by LSU. First down.
What a play. Well, you talk about the front 7 guys being gassed. How do you fix that? You bring a guy from the secondary. So it ends up being Ali Gay comes up, I think, with this fumble recovery. I wonder, is that ball already out?
The ruling of a fumble is under video review.
It's Gay that actually forces this fumble. That ball's out. Wow. It looked to me like Matt Corral, the first thing that would have established him down was his left knee. The ball's already out.
Well, let's bring in Matt Austin, our SEC rules analyst here, to take a good look at this, Matt.
Well, we haven't had a good shot of the knee and the ball in the same picture. I agree with Matt. I do think it's out. I'm not sure the ruling on the field was a fumble, so I'm not sure there's much to overturn.
I think the view we had on the play just before this one, guys, I think was the view where you could see the ball was out before Corral was on the ground.
Again, you can't see when the ball comes out of his hand.
Here's the view right here. Yep.
Yeah. Out.
It appears so, yes.
And look who's in the middle of that defense, guys. Glenn Logan out there gutting it out. Because Cole had shared with us earlier, was not putting much weight on that lower extremity injury, whatever it was, ankle something. It was Jacoby Stevens, though, that came in and made that initial pressure.
After video review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. First down LSU.
LSU has had such a season of ups and downs, but they are going to finish the year +9 in the turnover battle. That's the 11th forced fumble recovered by 11 different players. Matt Corral and the Rebels turn it over 6 times tonight. And LSU is going to finish the season with huge wins over 2 big rivals, Florida and Ole Miss.
Well, what an answer. And for the season, you think about LSU offensively, early on this year with Miles Brennan, they're putting up points, they're moving the football, they found ways to generate yards. It's been the defense that has been the significant drop-off, but the past
timeout.
2 games.
Ole Miss, second charge timeout of the half. It's a 30-second timeout.
The past 2 football games, that defense has stepped up. And how about the night from the true freshman, Kayshon Boutte?
A historically great night, Stench. Over 300 yards receiving, a Southeastern Conference all-time record. for one game. 308 yards and 3 touchdowns. 14 catches, was targeted 20 times.
And a lot of those yards coming after the catch. I mean, he earned it. There's no doubt. And it was a game where you just knew eventually the LSU ground game is going to get going a little bit, get established. Never really happened. It's been really the Kayshon Boutte show at receiver for the LSU offense.
Timeout. Ole Miss. Third and final timeout of the game. It's a 30-second timeout.
Well, as long as Max Johnson can hold on to the football here, it's going to be a victory for LSU to finish the season at 5-5. Self-imposed a bowl ban, so this is it for 2020. Coach O and all of us hope that everybody's able to play some spring football in March and in April. And then the Tigers will be back on the field for a real game in September of 2021. The year started with a national championship, and it ends in a driving rainstorm with a victory over Ole Miss. And that'll do it. Max Johnson and the Tigers outlast Ole Miss in what was a thriller tonight. Congratulations to everyone in the Southeastern Conference. 70 games were scheduled and 68 were played in the middle of a pandemic. Incredible job to get through this season. The regular season is over, and now the postseason begins. The SEC championship game is tonight at 8. We're going to send you to Atlanta in just a moment for our preview here on SEC Network. Thanks to Cole Kublik and Matt Stinchcomb and our entire crew. I'm Taylor Zarzer. LSU beats Ole Miss 53-48. Now let's send you to Atlanta, Georgia. Laura Rutledge, all yours, my friend.
Thank you, Taylor, and what a